Vitality fumble the bag back on Inferno. 9-3 lead goes the distance. Bates steal it away with an excellent show of resilience. But this series is not done. It culminates on Dust 2. Home ground for Vitality. Their best map. 51-8 with this roster. It is absolutely a pillar of consistency for Vitality until lately. Back at the Clone Major, Harry. Three losses in a row, all at the Major, including to the Falcons in that playoff match they were eliminated in. So Team Vitality, like we saw Bait come back to the drawing board of Mirage, hope they've had a look at Dust coming into this event.
Yeah, I think, you know, for Bait, it's obviously a huge show of resilience, kind of a testament to this squad and how much they've been growing, but you don't win the series on that second map, right? No. You have to keep it going, and this is going to be versus a Vitality that might now have a bit of a fire lit beneath them, because this is not where they're supposed to be encountering problems. Playoffs on the line on the back of this series, and in this pistol, Vitality will have a bomb plant, even with some missed util in there. It's down to a 5v5 retake.
Where are they going then? All together. At flash. Rops is lurking with the P250. He's going to come in late on this backstab. He might even find this kit down lower, but Sizzy goes CT instead. Headshot as they cross in. Lots of Glocks, but pistols, USPs at range. It's up to the man in the sight. Zaiwu holding strong with a multi-kill. But instead, everybody comes in and picks it up. Flames is double, in fact. And Vitality with that pistol after all. Not afraid in that post-plant of Vitality.
No, I mean, I think the thing that made this Vitality when they were the undisputed world #1 so impressive was just that, you know, that they could always bounce back. In the few cases that they had anything go against them, they would be able to brush it off in between maps. Hell, there was a long period where they were literally winning everything. And so, you know, I don't think they're going to crumble here because they gave up a big lead. They can't afford to slow down at all. This B hit has worked wonders. And so save called for this Bait squad straight away.
Also just such a comfortable place to be, right? Even though these teams are the polar opposites, right? Vitality 3 losses in the Major. Bait got 3 wins in the Major on this map. All 3. So, you know, that's a good sign, but this is still such a high floor for Vitality on a map like this. It's a conversation we were even having yesterday about how, you know, just a couple of teams, there are a couple of teams that can make this map consistent. Most rosters struggle. Vitality and Spirit, and more recently Falcons, definitely been able to do so. So saved weaponry. They get another go with this FAMAS. Terrorists win. No spawns in this round, so it will have to be something more default for Vitality.
And it is just a series that kind of gets crazier the more you think about it. The idea that, like, it's actually been Bait in the position of 2-0 this series. Had multiple chances on Mirage, ended up going to overtime. Vitality kind of squeezing it out. Come back from the big deficit on Inferno. You don't want that to all be forgotten about in a decisive third map.
Kill relieves a lot of pressure on the maps. Is he not able to pot any more scout shots in middle? Vitality with options available. Go up catwalk. Bomb still top mid.
And this just feels good, doesn't it, right? No issues on the back of the pistol. You get your conversions and you were never that stressed.
PUBG аяқталды. Енді CS қараймыз. Vitality bait bizde. Decider.
He's waiting to get his hands on that AWP.
2-0 отады деп ойладым. Негізі Vitality, бірақ осылай.
Very influential.
Decider ойнап жатыр. Алдыңғы матчты бізде Vitality неде? Inferno'да ойнады. Bait. Қанша? 11 есебімен жеңді.
Can't say for certain Zywoo's going to bring his out straight away.
Foot mouse'дармен ойнап жатыр оларда да бірде-бір.
Vitality thinking about it. Yeah, he will.
Камбэк жасады Нюкта. 2-0 ұшып кетуге сәл қалды маузарға. Мауздар 2-1 есебімен жеңеді деп қойдым. Vitality 2-0. Екеуі де бірде-бір келіп жатыр. Decider. Мына жақта да.
Even in a playoff qualification.
Маус Vitality ұтса нормально. Хотя бы ұтса.
So far in Paris.
Бірақ Vitality. Шансы жоқ тастайды деп ойладым. Келесі матч нені қараймыз? PVISION 100Thieves.
The Foot, latest event winners in Mouse.
Not to mention, like, you kind of came into this event eyeballing.
Не болды ойын дейді. Отравление болды 20 ойыншы.
Spirit.
Ертең жалғастырамыз.
Falcons. And yeah, you could even make, you know, an argument for a squad like a Mouse, but we've seen stumbles from all of them apart from the Falcons. I want to feel like a bunch of the heavy favorites for the event can have all these questions around them. Looking at those playoffs, this one, a mowdown for Bay as they nice and easy put a stop to the A hit.
I think if Flames has his gun out, I think they just set up nicely to win that round. There's a really good chance to get that second trade, put the bomb down, play cats, because the rounds Vitality excel at, but Flames pulls Util out, thinking he has a bit more respect.
Әрен ойнады ғой Бейт қарсы, Инфернода.
They do so convincingly, and you know, I think one thing you've seen just from the pistol out of this base squad is they're always kind of looking for ROPs on these lurks. That's nice for Sizzy, love that.
Apex just crouching.
Will he get away? Just about escapes.
His nade smashes ROPs as well.
істеуге болады. Біреу мидда, екеу Б, екеу А.
Looking for back-to-back rounds for Bait, keeping their money alive. Putting the captain back in his chair.
Не болса санауыздарына заға берей, ойнамай ма дейді. Аренаға келген тамақтары ғой бұл организаторлардың.
He's quick. One more. ROPs won't give it away. Or maybe he will.
Организаторлардың тамағын деп отравление болды ғой. Қалада. Жүрсе жарайды, тамақ жеп.
That was a really
Организатор
clean
берген
sequence. I mean,
тамақ
this
қой бұл.
whole round has just come down to the Sizzy AWP, involved from the get-go, peek out through short to find Apex, and with the reposition, is just won
Әдемі
the
ойын
round
болып
on his
жатыр еді
own.
дейді. Сол.
Let his team know.
Мирамар скип дейді.
Plus, you know, I think you already had some good moments from Sizzy back on Inferno. That 3K over towards Zong, like really being the one that kind of takes the cake. But, you know, you take an AWP off of Inferno, you put them on Dust 2.
Maç қызық
They
болайын деп
want to
тұр.
be a lot more involved than they get to be on that second map. And Sizzy
Ол
just from the get-go,
бізде.
as soon as he could buy the AWP, like to make it
Upper
known.
bracket па? Қалай бұл?
Apex doing a lot of talking in the save, trying to get his team activated.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably
Ұтқан
feeling
команда
a little
плей-оффқа
pissed, to
шығады.
be honest.
Ұтылған
Like, he
команда
can't quite
тағы да
believe
мүмкіндік болады.
how this is
Үстеме
starting
сеткаға
already.
түсіп
Wanted to just
ойнайды.
get on a Dust 2, get a clean break, begin this kind
Ал
of
по
streak of
PVISION
rounds, feel
100
like you could
Thieves бізде төмен
leave
сеткада
everything
ойнайды.
else in the rear view, but
PVISION
that's
ұтады
not
деп
what's
ойлаймын.
happening. Bait showing up in fighting form.
And the way that we introed this series was how one-sided this head-to-head is. Let me just recount it, because in the last 3 maps, these two teams have played. They haven't gotten more than 8 rounds.
Бір
They
миллисекунд,
never won a map against Vitality. They played back at Budapest last year. Played at Atlanta a couple months ago.
Ой-ой-ой.
So this is a very different looking base. We talked about them
Қалаш.
leveling up, come Cologne.
Молик, флеш екен.
Coach factor as well, keeping them calm. You know, remember they choked map 1, and they looked like they were just about to get washed out of Inferno, but continuing to show resilience
Не үшін смок бұл,
against one of the world's best. Zywoo trying to take control of this round now, thrusting himself into some fights, but nothing's getting given away here. Sizzy is back at long.
Кенеседі Фурия көрдің ба дейді. Қарадық қой Фурияны. TikTok'та болған жоқ трансляция. YouTube'та болды. Ол бірінші күні ойнап, ертең ғана тағы да ойнайды, ертең 15-і. Кеше ойнаған
Really in
жоқ.
position
Бірінші күні
to
ойнады
keep
Фурия.
an eye on this from the A side of the map. Don't have a player in CT, so it is just these 2 B site men for Bait. Having to stop the entirety of Vitality.
Бейттағы.
Kenzazor and Essential have their work cut out for them. High flash provided by Zywoo. Kenzazor peeks, gets them back turned. And with Essential holding onto the doors, this one goes nowhere quickly. Zywoo left saving his AWP again. Bait are tying this game up straight away.
It's rare to see Zywoo have the wrong read there, right? But he goes back to hold the long push or the short push, waiting to see if they flanked him. If he held the window instead, he'd be able to cover his teammates. They swung out window and picked some of the door players. So, unfortunately, in the wrong position with that AWP. And that's the money still out for Vitality while Zywoo saves his sniper. Already getting the right feel for it yet here on Vitality. Not a gun round to their name.
Essential дейді.
And there it is again.
Wait,
Well,
tutup
Zywoo's
кетсе
held on to that
сенсация
AWP for
болады.
a couple of rounds now, and Sizzy is going to remove it from play.
Sizzy guy is crazy. Just getting better and better every event.
Here's the thing as well. I think Zywoo's coming into this third map like already a little bit cold. He didn't really do anything on Inferno. He certainly wasn't the savior you'd hope he would be. Was largely irrelevant, so maybe cooled off a little bit. Additionally, Vitality are often used to getting like a good deal of respect on Dust 2. A lot of teams fear playing them on it. And so you'll see a lot of rounds kind of start like how these last couple have, where they're not looking for like the advanced positioning. They're not necessarily going about the short control. They kind of just get to sit back over here towards T-spawn while Apex lays out the groundwork for the round. And they almost wait for their opponents to get to those like round-ending positions like we saw in the one prior. Sizzy's been constantly down to push and prod. Like he's kind of changing the idea that you would give the Vitality squad respect here. Long door push, and it's easily dealt with by Alex. Pops left with this AWP. It's feeling a little cursed at this point. As it survives another round, or at least it's trying to. Robs won't get away with it. And so Bait move into the lead. And these are convincing rounds.
It's not looking good, right? Even on Eco, sure, you don't really expect a lot to happen here. Well, not a lot is happening, and POVs don't look pretty.
Wait, 4, Vitality 3.
Meanwhile, Bait again
Decider, das 2.
Das taking shots through the mid doors fearlessly. And I think it's clear at this point, Vitality can't be offering up free picks to this AWP in middle. He is there to take the fight every round. We're going to need multiple door smoke here for Vitality.
Авриттер ойнай алмай жүр ғой, а? Спирит. Осында бізде Джиджихау қарсы. Vitality енді бірінші матчтарын ұтты. Қазір Бейт қарсы міне Валидол болып жатыр. Бұл Валидол бізде Инфернодан басталды.
Seen it from him already, right? Sizzy just being hyperactive on his AWP.
He knows there's an angle there, but Zywoo's not giving it. Zywoo is aware of this position.
Over плюс W неге ойнамайды. Sizzy екінші рет осылай шорт W-пен
the same routing as before. Sees that bomb actually dropped out in middle, and he's looking for Zywoo. Who's playing it pacey with the scout.
That is the benefit. You can just AD so fast with that weapon. Zywoo just stays mobile. Sizzy baited into the fight. Zywoo 2 tags will do it.
Entry bar.
Vitality. But no excuses here. 5v4 on this cat pop.
Flashes to support one entry, and that should be enough. Alex still locked in this fight over towards Long, hanging around to get his.
Long таза. Енді short ұстау керек, ситин ұстау керек.
Everybody does their job here. And there are no survivors. Full hunted. Don't think they can get that AWP, but Vitality are very happy with the round. Every single player locks in.
That is
a crucial entry for Apex, who has been, to be fair, struggling individually this series.
Данный момент пикті тұрған команда Дуко CS2-де дейді. Қиын қазір айту. Vitality сәліне босансып ойнап жатқан сияқты. Эрасы бітіп қалды. Матчтарды ұтылып, өзі қанша бізде? 3 па сондай? 3 рет ұтылды Vitality. Ну, фаворит, по-любому фаворит. Vitality фаворит. Кім тағы? Spirit, Furia.
He misses that first opportunity on Zywoo.
Falcon'дар.
Got his bearings on you. You're in a bad way. It's a fast long take here for Vitality as they do have the spawn.
Also, EWC
comes through.
Как будто
Zywoo is gonna fall on that smoke break.
Furia Falcon final.
Bait put a lot of guns out towards Long just to try and slow this one down. Flames around the edge. Right into that Sizzy wall.
So reliable.
Furia Falcons.
Well, he's decided he's had enough of them mid doors. Takes it elsewhere.
Spirit'larda bilmeyim что-то.
And now if you were hoping to go deal on this, you just get reblocked. They start to rejig the setup and they bring
сол баяғы плюс дабл жүгіріп
өтіріп жүрген
командасы, иә?
Really awkward timing here for Essential. Goes to jump up. Exposed to all three back in the tunnels.
Иә, екеуі қып-қызыл қалдырды.
Still big damage has been done. Bait are already closing in on the back.
Explode is қалай дигл дейді. Көрген жоқпын. Салам, бро, қалайсың? Алейкум ассалам. Шүкір жақсы. Қарау керек, жалпы. По-любому хайлайт бар каналда EWC. Бірақ көрген жоқпын бұл кейсті.
Doesn't matter what gun he's got, Bait have got that round fast on that B retake. And that is despite Essential getting 0 kills on the whole. That is usually a death sentence for B. But he does a lot of damage on his escape.
Көрмей былайынан. Жестко естіледі.
And dude, like, credit to Bait all across this round. They were so active at every moment.
Топ қалды есе дейді. Алдыңғы матчта ма? Походу мен көрдім оны. Онда көрдім.
That removes the whole fake from the round.
Бірақ байқамай қалдым мен есекені.
Mid-round moment where Vitality are grouping B, MPL plays through mid. He has a teammate up on
Қабуты көрген сияқтымын хайлайтты.
And he has a teammate with him clearing middle. They get the info that mid's open and he instantly begins a lower tunnels flank. Like they knew that was the B hit.
Mouse дейді.
Even before Essential with that spot. They're playing for the win here. There's no doubt about it. This isn't a shrunk down, scared Bait, worried at the success that lies in front of them. They're playing a very active game. Again, making a move early, going to clear the catwalk, and they're rewarded. Apex caught on his own.
Frustrating death as well. His whole team getting ready to hit B, but Bait just block it instantly. They don't give away into the site. Nade is good with a missed shot. And it's not something Vitality can afford at this point in the round.
Ойнап тұр жалпы
бұл иттер. Down with no map control.
Инфернода да. Жақсы болды. Мауздар нюкті алған. Менде предиктор, короче, маузға 2-1 деп қойдым. Нюкті қараған кезде думал, ты еще ана жерде 2-0 жабылады деп ойладым уже. Камбэк жасап кетті.
They just are never content with
sitting
back. They're always looking for more. Alex on a long push in behind enemy lines, and he could have a bunch of Vitality players just right for the taking here. Deals with Zaiwu, rounds over.
Vitality are getting wrecked. It does feel like that, right? The score may be close, but keep in mind, that's one gun round in this entire game for Vitality. It's one where 4 of the 5 players got a kill.
The mouse, mouse.
And instead, Bait just every gun round in their pocket. Vitality only converted pistol.
And whenever Vitality are trying to like have these kind of alternate points to the long take or Apex there over towards Cat, like Bait are coming up with solutions. Dealing with those players very early on to the round, and look at the freedom it gives them. Like Alex feels so safe in that long doors push. Usually, right? You're worried because you got guys that are always lurking through the back line.
Hey, B hits. Set play. Map is quiet. They just needed the mid smoke. They might be feeling like this one's coming. 2 players watching that tunnel smoke as Vitality get ready to go.
They haven't started with anyone on short. Instead, they've got Sizzy available as a rotation. They have to read for this one. So just a mowdown. 2 guns on at the tunnels. A third with AWP here as well. And nothing in this for Vitality.
They were just so ready, weren't they? I think they're calling that spawn. Watch your B site. Sizzy has all the info middle. 2 players. That's a read right there. If you're not getting on the long spawn on this map, and your default's getting crushed by the open mid, and now you've tried a B exec, you're running out of ideas. The one round they have is that catwalk take. Maybe they need to try and get numbers back up there again.
This is where like Sizzy's mobility is causing you some problems though, right? Like, you would love to because in a bunch of these rounds, they're kind of looking for that anti-long rush setup. Then they go back and they go re-clear short. But the fact that Sizzy's been so mobile, you don't know where he's cropping up. He's fought you on the catwalk. He's fought you in mid. He spawns.
Vitality 2-0 тап деп қойдым. По-любому маған жеңіс керек Vitality. Vitality жеңсе 200 БТ салам. 2-0 отқан кезде 600 алушы еді.
Gonna have to earn this last round, or Bait will be looking at an 8-4 CT side.
Пап не болып кетті сонымен дейді. Ертеңге қалды енді. 4 матч ойнап. Қалған матчтарда не? Перенос жасап ертең ойнайды.
We've had this vitality roster.
Ертең либо 7, либо 8 матч ойнайтын болады.
The actual worrying caveat there is it's 3 in succession from the major, and this would be the 4th.
4 қана матч ойнады.
Not to this caliber of team.
Exactly, right? Like, I think a lot of the top squads would have still been a little fearful of Vitality Dust 2, envisioning that, you know, the major was a bit of a blotch on their record, that they were going to kind of shore up this map again.
They left B to re-clear middle together. They find Apex getting into CT spawn. Now you know this is an A play. Alex is locked in a lot.
Хорош, Flames.
Sure, does miss his shot. Only a tag. Alex in a great position. Last round of the half here, and Bait have the advantage. They're just not ready for a second lurker at long. There should be a trade. Zywu can't connect. That's bomb on long. That's a disaster. And that's the round gone in front of your very eyes. There is simply no way to win this one. Alex is playing with his food as it gets closer and closer. So do Bait to this 8th round. And that's it. Domination on this CT side. Bait absolutely besting Team Vitality.
Yeah, 1 gun round in this map for Vitality on that T half.
Wow.
And if it weren't for the pistol, this could have been even more one-sided.
Yeah, and let me recount those losses that we were just talking about, right? The last one was to the Falcons. They also lost to Mouse as well. And 9Z, who we've seen a great Dust 2 from, took down Falcons on that very map at Astana. Had a great string of results. So this is a bit of a name out of that category. Not the name you'd expect. Somehow, some way, Bait are doing it, and they're earning it as well. 8-4. I mean, this pistol is a requirement.
Yeah, I mean, Bait are making Vitality look woeful. Like, dude, Zywu in some of these moments has just felt kind of lost.
Just missing his shots.
Like, it's not the same guy. This is Counter-Strike's perfect player.
It's also really hard to call this game for Apex. Think about some of the rounds he had on his own, right? He walks out that mid to B smoke, he gets shot in the back. He's on catwalk, he gets flash pushed, you know? Apex is getting disrupted the whole T side. He can never get a lurk off, never find an entry. USPs.
Well, yeah, I'm not. That one ain't on Zywu.
Zywu, хорош, тағы да.
Gets his one at least. You'll take that when he's insta-gushed. But now you've got to hold the line. You got 2 players trapped over towards Gandalf. Just spamming on this smoke. Flames trying to hold on. Oh, there's the turn for Essential. That's mad. Bait with the pistol.
That's not Essential. That's required. Here to absolutely melt Vitality on Dust 2.
I cannot believe it.
Same beam.
Vitality thought they had it in the bag. They're pincering him on both sides.
They've done so much damage as well. Of course, I would just get insta-goosh, and even with all these whiffs for Bait, it matters not.
Еще Парижде өтіп жатыр турнир, иә? Францияда.
And a 1v2, blink and you miss it.
Үйлерінде ойнап.
Tries to put this scout up mid.
Ұят қой мынау.
So by his side, a viable force buy. But still.
Фурия жоқ, Фурия ертең ойнайды жігіттер.
Sissy is not giving them anything.
Фурия ертең, бірақ матчты қарай алмаймыз. Фурия. PUBG өтеді. Bir уақытта короче өтеді. Сағат 4-те Фурия басталады, сағат 4-те PUBG Mobile басталады бізде.
And just you can see Zywu is just not feeling it. He was on Mirage, he was a demon on that first map.
Әлі отравление ма дейді.
Oh, and now you're getting smoked.
Қалай бұл? Әлі отравление. Отравление болса, сен по-любому жатып қаласың ғой. Молодой жоқ, молодой жоқ. Ертең қаншасы матчтан басталады? Как обычно, раундадан басталады, просто соңында тағы да 2 матч қосылады.
He's made this feel possible, like something crazy can
Бірақ
happen.
мүмкін ертерек басталады.
3K.
Жақсы дайын болыңдар.
Leaving it onto Flames, 1v2. Damage onto Sizzy already. So a one shot to the Deagle or the Scout.
Vitality вообще ұнамай тұр маған, а?
So a better gun, yeah. Khalil picked up, but Flames doesn't like his odds.
10-шы раунд бейт. Easy ма? Easy. Әлде камбэк бола ма?
Not meant to be. Bait 10-4 up.
I can't believe how clean this is for Bait.
Everything has gone
Матчтар
right.
считается, әрине ойнады ғой енді. Бітеді ғой матчтарды қалай.
It's been a well-called game.
And just like throughout the entire series, they've been the guys applying all the pressure. They're the only team that could have 2-0'd this. Vitality might have been close, but they were never actually in that position where they could have. Bait got to map point first on Mirage. They were able to win on Inferno, and now Dust 2, they are just storming the board.
Париждің дамақтары ашып кеткен бә, бәрі дейді Франция сондай дамаған мемлекет осындай болады екен ғой дейді. Адамыз
Well, I agree with the
Бұл жерде ондай нәрсе болады.
2-0 this game because they won Inferno. Keep in mind, Vitality had the first map in the bag, and they were 9-3 up on Inferno. Bro, they were 4 rounds away from this series being done. Now they're getting obliterated on the 3rd map. So both teams have had their chances, but now Bait are the ones seizing it.
And because Vitality went for that force, you know, their next gun round is coming when Bait are on 11. And if you don't win your first gun round on this CT side, the series is over. Bait are going to the playoffs.
Would put Vitality in a lower bracket game against Vision for a playoff spot as well, or elimination.
Ұнайды маған. Ланда жүрген кезде, аренада я сұхбатқа шыққан кезде, бүкіл аренаға факин көрсетіп жүр ғой. Ойлаңдаршы, мыңдаған адам ана жақта факин көрсетіп жүр. Flames, хорош.
Put to use. Back into a mid to be. Oh, what a
long range for Essential. Robs is here as well. They found Flames in CT before the smoke comes up, and they get past Robs with no issues. So a quick change of direction here for Bait. Put some distance between themselves and that stack. They're on to 11.
Oh dear.
That big ball, that big Vitality, that big.
This 3rd and final map.
Уже көрінттер.
51-8.
Ойнағысы келмейді уже.
About to be 9.
Бап керіп тұр ана жақта. Апексістер жоқ.
You can even see it written on their faces. They can't believe this. It feels like they're just on this state of autopilot right now.
W ойнап жатыр ғой мына бейттер. Вообще қорықпайды. Кім Vitality ма? Бізге бәрібір деп тұр ғой. Ассалаумағалейкум, соңғы 2 карта отмена неге болды? Бұл отравление болды командаларда. Ойыншылар, 20 ойыншы.
And nothing connecting. And it's not like anyone else is there.
Ертең ойнайды бұл 2 матчта. Бүгін ойнамаған матчтарды ертең ойнайды. Ертең 6 емес 8 матч болады. Зайбу. Ойнап жатыр екен. Зайбу соло пока. Және де Зайбу аяқталды. Орантта шаруасы бітті.
4v4 and Bait are licking their lips at the opportunity to not just win this game.
Так, Flames да ойнап жатыр екен, я? Apex. Пассажир болып тұр ғой, Apex. 2 kill, 12 рет өлді.
Now you hear him going mid to be, you tell Robs, look, you got to do something, you got to put up some big numbers here, or else this one's over and they're saving.
Әлемдегі ең мықты команда осы ма?
And so Bait a clean sweep all the way to the finish line. Save call has to come in for Vitality. If they want anything to play with in this next round, they can't even get close to this bomb site. They've had one gun round.
Не kill жағынан, не тактика жағынан көмектесе алмай жатыр бізде Apex.
They should save. This would be audacious to even move in, but they go grab the AWP and get out. So 2 AWPs. Vitality grabbing whatever the hell they
Зайбол алып
can.
шығады. Зайбол ана жақтан қарадыр. AWP-ні риск жасап, AWP-ні алып сейфке аттанды. Түсініп тұр қазір. AWP керек екен. AWP болмаса Зайб ойнамайды. Командада 3 қана ойыншы ойнап жатқан қазір. Зайболға сеніп тұр. Дата ол риск жасап, мидқа шығып, AWP-ні алу үшін.
One of the worst beatings that this squad's ever received. One rifle round in a playoff deciding map 3. Dust 2, their former, go-to map. And sure, the major threw up some questions, but you thought they were going to return this season and have Dust 2 under wraps. They have been annihilated.
Хорош. Робс авикпен.
Mezzi with him, it's 5v3. You'd want to say that's enough for Vitality, but nothing's been sacred in this game.
Көрді, Зайбол қарандыр білет.
Right now they're trying to hunt down Robs, but that's smoking their way. Lose Alex on the lurk. 2 versus 3 now. Molly in at the window.
Essential.
With the craziest move, and it comes down to this.
Counter-strike's perfect versus the young gun, and Sizzy gets it done. Налар жынды екен бейт. Ты чё? Хорош. Apex шок болып тұр. Кімдер мыналар вообще? Келіп айырып жіберді. И так-то дома негізі Vitality. Apex, ты чё, дану? Сенбей отырады. Просто перебегали ғой ана жерде. Жүгіріп, плюс W. Былай айтқанда тер-бір командаларға, осындай командаларға қарсы ойнағанда қиын. Оқи алмайды себебі оларда. Аналар просто жүгіріп фейс болып кетті. Vitality күтіп отыр ана жақта. Тактика, бір нәрсе, құрамалық ойын, аналар просто жүгіріп шығып.
Sure, you can argue that on Inferno had Apex not jumped on that box in round 20. It would have been a 2-0 Vitality. We wouldn't have this conversation, but once we got
тактика, шмактика керек емес. Чисто атысып бұл жерде. Жүгіріп.
Strong on the T side, strong on the CT side, and left no room for doubt that somehow, some way, they were the better team today.
I think Vitality are officially in a crisis. They've lost 4 Dust 2s in a row. You know how many Dust 2s they lost with this total?
Spirit ұтылды, аутсайдерден, Джихаудан, Vitality бейттен ұтылды. Кім бізде тағда фавориттардан бар? Фурия, Falcons бар фавориттардан тағда. Аутсайдер қарсы. Қалай ойнайды екен? Келесі матчтар. Vitality ұшып кетті ма? Жоқ, әлі ойнайды. Бірақ төмен сеткаға олар түсті. Так, көрсетем.
If anything, it's a sign of lack of confidence.
Міне Vitality бейт ұтты, бейт плей-оффқа шықты. Vitality түсет на жаққа. 100Thieves, PVISION. Примерно осы командалармен ойнайды. Осы жерге түсет. 16 август ойнайды, Примерно PVISIONдармен ойнайды деп ойлаймын. Алар ойнаған сияқты уже, жоқ, 100Thieveспен ойнады. Бейт мұқты, қарандар PVISIONды өтті. Қазір Vitality-ні ұтып кетті. Так, келесі матч біз мынаны қараймыз. PVISION, 100Thieves. Так, пока что мына жақта не? Бейт ұтты, мына жақта не болып жатыр? Мауздар қалай ойнап жатыр?
Well, emotions might have B8
standing idly by, ready to say the same thing.
Молдар
Nibble it is.
жалпы матчтары.
Yeah, Bait pulling off an absolute stunner here to upset Vitality. Congratulations, first of all. Tell me what's going through your head right now, managing to put Vitality down.
Отылды ма не, Мауздар? На реклама
happy, obviously. Very happy, everyone, because we felt before the tournament that we were in good shape.
Реально, ана жақта фут ұтты, ана жақта бейт ұтты. Ема, аутсайдер командалар. Сенсация жасайын деп жатыр. Уже жасады.
I don't know.
Great form from you. Let's go back to that Inferno, because you're coming into the second half. You're 9-3 down, but you pull off a stunning CT side. What was some of the calling going on that Inferno second half?
Так, пикем даром. Салам алейкум болды.
Some of my teammates were a bit upset that they're playing
Маус,
like
екіде бірден еттен қойдым. Фут келіп кетті.
It was very hard for
Витальти 2-0. Бейттар. Тазықта Тайлу. Левизин ұт кетті 2-0. На жерден ниндзя пижамасы ұт кетті бейттарды 2-0. Вообще. Не болып жатыр. 4 предикт, 4-еуде ұтылдым. Бүгін реально эти не болып тұр ғой, қып-қызыл предикттары бәрі.
Couple of crucial retakes on that one. The momentum just continued to snowball. That Dust 2 as well. Another great CT side from you guys. Was it a similar story there?
Полностью зеленый болып тұр ғой. Қараңдар. Бам, бам, бам, бам. Бам, бам, бам. Именно жақта. Бац болып жатыр. Қып-қызыл. Ана жақта дашбордта примерно уже екінші позиция жоғалттым.
I mean, they ultimately didn't. I've got to ask about the last round as well, because I felt like it just epitomized kind of what went wrong in that series for Vitality, what went right for you guys. You're in a 3v5. We think surely not Vitality. This doesn't slip away from you. But you guys get the job done. Tell me your reaction to closing it out like that.
Так, қай каналда болады енді бізде?
It was 3v5 for now, but at the end, like Essential and CZ was alive. They were playing against. They were playing 2v3, and Kansas said to Essential just pick and molly.
Linvision қарсы ойнайды дейді.
Just screaming, just pick and molly.
Ой, Linvision қарсы ма не?
Then CZ don't see AWP, we communicate saying that we're probably in tunnel, CZ focusing tunnel, and we was winning, like, I don't know, that's it, you know?
It was kind of poetic for Sizzy v Zaiwu to be the killing blow to close us out. Just one final question on this series. Was there a point that you felt like, guys, this is our game, we're back in it, and Vitality don't really have a chance?
Vitality бейт кімдерге түсу керек?
The set on Dust after when the score was 3-3, you know?
PVISION 100Thieves.
That was the point, I think.
Pretty early on. Final question from my side of things. We've got a couple of days off now before we head to playoffs. What's on the cards for Bait? Is it going to be more practice? Are you going to get out and see some sights in Paris?
I don't know. I think we will. I think obviously we will practice, but I don't know. I don't know. You know.
Yeah, Linvision Vitality түсті.
I think we will try to.
Ой, Vitality Linvisionға түсті.
I think you well deserve
PVISION 100Thieves.
What was a marathon series split down by Vitality. That's Bait heading through to the playoffs.
Yeah, great stuff here from Bait, and then we can look a little bit at the numbers, but they're going to tell a little bit more of the story that is an absentee Vitality from the third map of the series.
Yeah, they were nowhere to be found, and as Janko said, you know, not a great performance, crisis or not, you know, I'm intrigued by that. You know, I think it's going to be super interesting to see Vitality, how they're going to handle this loss and how they're going to move on into the tournament. As I said, when you look at the bracket, Janko, it's likely that they will still make the playoff, but they're not going to come into that playoff with any sort of confidence that they can win this tournament.
I mean, they'll have some. I think they'll be aware that obviously they didn't play their best today, and I'm sure Apex is going to take some of the responsibility for the loss, but still, we're talking about, again, Dust 2, right? We're talking about them not being able to convert their
Жо, ертең бізде сағат 4-те Монгол Snavi ойнайды. Wildcard Pain қарсы. Сосын сағат
to the season you wanted them to bounce
back.
Bizde
Furia 9 ойнайды. И Magic Pen үшті макс. Әрі қарай 20-10 Spirit Big и Джихау Aurora.
Speaking of bouncing back, you know, for B8, they started off the season with one AWP player, then they played one tournament, switched into another, and it was a hot mess to be completely honest. Even at the major, they showed glimpses of what could be, but never really broke through. And I feel like this is perhaps, you know,
Maç қашан басталды білмеймін. Енді ғана аяқталды ғой матч.
Примерно
10 минут бар.
Походу. You mentioned himself. I feel like he's sort of like a good budget option to join a really good team. You know, he's playing well individually. He has some in-game leading experience as well. So you think he has a smart mind for the game as well. And in this game against Vitality, once more, he's stepping up when it's needed the most. So I feel like there's some positives coming out of B8. I'm curious to see if they can replicate it. I'm curious to see if this is B8 beating a Vitality that is not playing well whatsoever, or if this is a B8 that, as he said, you know, is coming in a good shape. Because if this is the level, then, you know, in a playoff of 16 teams, there should be opportunity for them to move further.
So as we load, I mean, we got one round, but I guess the equation game is if you guys are ranked at a certain level and then B8 is below that, but they just beat Vitality, does that mean you guys are better than Vitality?
It's quite simple. We're closer to Vitality than we are to Bait at this point.
Okay, yeah, because I was just curious.
You know?
Yeah, okay, so we got to round 5, and this is a little bit of Vitality saving face.
Yeah, I think it's a reset round early on, so most importantly, you see CZ there with an aggressive play. He's low HP. You saw there Zaiwu, he fires off a shot in lower B. That triggers CZ. You can keep searching. Like, that's how aggressive he wants to be, even with 20 HP, and finds 2 more kills, right, on Flamesy and onto Robs, and those are his first 3 kills of the game as well. So it's not like he's popping off and he has all this confidence, but that just tells you his mindset coming into this round. And we talk a lot about momentum in MR12 and in Counter-Strike in general, and this was such a key round, right? If they lose it, they're back to pistols probably, and Vitality potentially snowballs the game, but the opposite happened.
Vitality were up 3-1. You know, they lost this round and they lost the game 13-4. We're talking about Vitality doesn't get anything done whatsoever on the server. To me, that's the most surprising thing about this matchup. You know, as well as B8 played, it takes 2 teams to put up a fight. You know, to have a game of Counter-Strike, and Vitality just never showed up today.
That might be the most profound thing I've ever heard Jacob say. Right there at the very end, like it takes 2 teams to play a game of Counter-Strike. You know what? You're damn right. It takes 2 teams to fight it out, too, to duke it out as well. Speaking of which, I want to remind you that we got PVISION coming up versus 100Thieves. That'll be this next game. PVISION. Yeah, my bad. All right, that's strike.
Another one.
Strike one for myself there. But bringing it back to what is Sizzy versus Zaiwu. Sizzy put up some incredible impact in this series, in this map in particular, in what was a dominating fashion.
Yeah, it was impressive. You know, I'm glad he kind of confirmed what we saw a bit more during the major. One thing that did work out for B8 at the major was actually him playing well when it got into these close scenarios. I remember a couple of overtime games they had in Cologne where he was the one who stepped up. He was the one playing aggressive, as Janko just shows an example of right here. Even in games where he didn't necessarily pop up in regulation, all of a sudden he would show up, you know, in the most crucial moments. And if anything, Janko, I feel like from a coaching perspective and watching a guy like him, having a guy who's just sticking to the way he wants to play Counter-Strike, regardless of whether you're off to a hot start or a cold start, that must be kind of nice to have that ability.
Yeah, and these are the sort of players that I always hated going up against, that just every single sliver of space that they see that they can take, like they're going to try and take it and try to be aggressive. And, you know, you have to account for all the different positions he can be at the start of the round and everything. And for such a young player, you know, to have that approach and mindset and not be deterred by the fact that he's going arguably against the greatest team ever is a great thing to see.
We have some of that example there of the space taking in round 17. Is that what we're looking at right there?
I think it just shows you the, you know, approach from Bait and how confident they felt, obviously, at this point in the game, right? Even though they're in a 3v4 now, a 2v3, you're going to see Essential just send it, really, with an 8-round cushion. You can definitely do.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, it's a great way of closing out the game. And as Freya said and asked about it in the interview with MPL as well, you know, it's what happens when you just have an endless amount of confidence. You know, it's a good Molotov to create a bit of space, and as you said, full sending it. And at the end of the day, what could go wrong in this game for B8?
Yeah, I don't know. The second half start with Essential, and then they run it out 10-4. I'm pretty sure that was a GG moment right there. Let's go ahead and look at the brackets. We got to catch everybody up to speed where we are now that we have just seen Vitality take a L here on stage. One that I don't think many people would have forecasted. We're going to start around Group B. Yanko, what you got?
Yeah, Group B. Falcons already made it. FaZe already made it. Some more games have to be played. We got NIP earlier today, Eliminate BB team, set up that meeting with Astralis for a playoff spot.
Yeah, it could be some spicy domestic matchups in that lower bracket, assuming MIBI would beat K27, then you got a Brazilian player then.
Okay, so Here we go. Now, I had to just draw this real quick myself, but with that said, Vitality, that's right. I mean, your eyes don't deceive you. If you're tuning in right now, you missed the big game. That's B8 advancing with the playoffs.
Yeah, and that is, as I said, arguably the biggest surprise of the tournament so far. Bigger of a surprise than GG how beating Spirit in a best of 1, to me at least. The fact that they do it in a best of 3. I guess the good thing for Vitality is that they drop down to the lower bracket and arguably are facing who I consider to be the worst team left in the tournament in PVISION Gaming. They have been failing consistently to do anything impressive for quite some time. So even a Vitality playing at the level they are right now, surely, Yanko, surely they can miss that one.
Yeah, that's the saving grace in a way. You know, that should be a good sort of pick me up, get back on track again for Vitality. But we'll see, first of all, if they get over PVISION, what their playoff brackets will look like. And, you know, it goes without saying, if they play at the level they did against Bait, you're not going to see them lift the trophy.
If we know the luck of Falcons, it'll probably be Vitality Falcons at that opening round, you know. So
somehow, some way, of course.
Yeah. Well, that's what they would probably consider that good luck, considering the track record.
At this point, hey guys, let's jump to a quick break so that we can't come back and get this last one underway. 100 Thieves, PVISION going toe-to-toe right here. Neither of these teams exactly where they want to be as far as tournament stand goes, but we're going to talk more about that when we come back. Guess what? It's the Esports World Cup in 2026.
In our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower.
Got no limit, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm limitless. I ain't got no limit, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm limitless. They can't stop me now, yeah, that's right. Cause I'm limitless. It's my turn right now, watch me work. Yeah, I'm limitless. I ain't got no limit, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm limitless. I ain't got no limit, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm
The future is conversational. Get an edge over the competition and ship incredible customer experiences with 11 Labs' industry-leading AI audio platform. Curate authentic interactions with conversational AI ready to help 24/7 with human-like agents, helping you resolve, convert, and retain customer loyalty. Try these out for size. They're currently on promotion. Or offer your customers world-class audio curation with our exceptional voice models transformed to your applications. And then transcribe with the most accurate speech-to-text API, giving your app access to the highest quality transcripts. Incredible voices with unmatched performance. Welcome to 11 Labs for Enterprise.
Meet the brand new Wondershare Uni Converter 14, the all-in-one video toolbox to convert, compress, edit videos, and much more.
Did you know that you can play the piano in Suno using your keyboard? No, not that keyboard. This one. This is Suno's new musical keyboard. If you're the kind of person who would rather play the melody in your head than try to explain it, now you can lay it down using your own keyboard, wherever you are, whenever you want. You can use Z and X to move between octaves, and C and V to adjust the velocity. You can also switch on the arpeggiator, which gives you everything you need to make dope arpeggios. Or use the chords mode to save chord progressions for later. And if you still prefer playing on the piano, you can do that too. Just plug your MIDI keyboard into Suno and record directly inside Suno Studio. However you like to play, you can now bring your ideas to life inside of Suno Studio 2.0.
Hey guys, how to easily recover lost files from an SD card. We'll teach you how to recover files. So what should you do when you sadly lost files from SD card? 1. Stop using SD card immediately after data loss. 2. Do not reformat the SD card, which will erase the data forever. 3. Resort to a professional SD card recovery tool like 4DDig data recovery.
We were there. For every click, every clutch, every respawn. We were there for the years of grind. And we're here. Now. The proud founding partner of EWC. Powering the biggest event in gaming. Shoulder to shoulder with the world's best. Making history. Greatness deserves a stage. Lenovo Legion. Reach your impossible.
Versus a pizza game.
It might be done, boys. Gives me.
I was ready to just throw my headset on the ground, and then I don't know if I can swear, but fuck. For me, I feel way more comfortable playing like a Spirit, Navi, mouse. The pace of the game and the way that it's flowing, it's more natural to me than what the tier 2 seems. Our biggest strength, I think, is the cohesion between the players. I think we're matching very well, just outside of the server and on the server. We're having fun. We're listening to Jack. We're taking the criticism in. We're not fighting back. He said something is wrong, and then we're like, okay. And then we try to fix it, which is really good. I had teams in the past where we're looking at mistakes, and then we're kind of just sweeping it under the rug instead of taking it up.
What would you like to be able to show or prove to people here in Paris?
Fun Counter-Strike, explosive and tactically well done.
Well, you've
You got Jame and Flit on one side, Device and Rain on the other, and to be honest with you all, that's a pretty absurd amount of championship experience for a lower bracket matchup. Welcome back to the Esports World Cup 2026 Paris, PVISION, and 100 Thieves ready to get locked horns.
Well, be careful what you wish for. You might just get it, right? Rain was asking for more Tier 1 Counter-Strike, got Vitality in the first round, didn't go all too hot, and now PVISION, no slouches themselves, right? Obviously went through a couple of roster changes compared to the lineup at the start of the year, but, you know, very much a dangerous team.
Yeah, I feel like it's a true litmus test for the Thieves. You know, how far in their whole journey are they right now? How far away are they from playing Tier 1, Tier 2 Counter-Strike? As you said, the first game was rough on paper. You know, the second one is not much easier, to be completely honest, facing PVISION, who looked somewhat decent in China when they came second, losing the final to 9C, but outside of that, you know, doing a decent job. So, yeah, I don't know what I feel about the Thieves at the moment. I feel like I'm about to learn a lot about where they're at in their journey, but it's a tough one.
Let's talk about kind of the capacity at which both of these teams are coming into this tournament, right? So 100 Thieves have had to gruel out to this point. We can kind of focus most of our conversation here in the beginning about the 100 Thieves. I'm talking about making it through a qualifier situation to then find your way on stage now in a do or die.
I mean, that's the most impressive thing so far about the Thieves, the fact that they're just at this tournament. I think them even participating is, as much as we don't want to give out participation awards, you know, I think that's a step in the right direction, you know, surviving a grueling last chance qualifier, beating some somewhat decent teams and winning some games and getting some more experience together as a team. That's something they can take away already, regardless of them winning or losing this game as well. So far it's been not sure if we can label it a success, but maybe a small step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's rough to judge them just yet because they did change their IGL, right? And that's a big change to make. And you can see some of the early returns with Gizmi, you know, beating Falcons, albeit in an online game, taking Spirit all the way, almost even taking them down and making it to the LAN finals. But it's a tough opponent ahead of them, right? And it's this mix of youth and experience, right? Sierra and Poi, and even Gizmi, right? Okay, there was a couple of months there with Monty that put him on the map, but outside of that, you know, haven't really heard too much about these guys. And obviously Device and Rain, some of the most storied players that we have in our scene.
Absolutely. That's the name I'm looking for, Device. Big hero of yours, Jacob.
I mean, yeah, a player who's been around for forever. Grew up playing Counter-Strike with and against him. He's always been very talented at the game. And as you can see, you know, the beginning in the Thieves and his comeback into, again, Tier 2, Tier 3 Counter-Strike wasn't necessarily too great. A 107 rating from January to April. Since, though, it's been slightly better, you know. Again, the level of opposition he's playing, though, is also helping him and helping his stats a little bit. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. But I think it's vital for this team to be any sort of remotely competitive to Tier 1 Counter-Strike. Device has to play well. Now, naturally, Janko, we're not going to see him at the level we saw in Australia. He's never going to be a top 10 player, individually speaking, probably ever again. But a competitive Device, that's going to help out this team quite a lot.
Yeah, let's see how far he can take his individual level, because I do think Gizmi is a good IGL, right? He can take the team maybe to a next level. At the very least, give them some good structure, right? Good protocols. I think that will help the younger players as well. And then you see what their ceiling is based off of the individual skill. And then some of the younger players like Sierra have shown us some good things already. And then in combination with some of these veterans, like where is their ceiling is what we're waiting to see.
Guys, but Gizmi, everybody asked me, where is Gizmi? Where is Gizmi, Freya?
We got Gizmi from 100 Thieves in the building. I've firstly got to ask, it's obviously a big step up to be entering 100 Thieves. What's been the biggest learning curve for you so far?
It was really just going back to basics. I couldn't almost play my playbook from Monty straight away. We had to focus a lot on the initial rounds, which we already did the work with Monty over a year ago, and I almost took that for granted now. So it was just coming into the games, I had to understand this default here, this player doesn't know that this protocol is needed, and stuff like this. So even though I was as prepared as possible from the beginning, I still had to pay a lot of attention to it. So I did that, and things are moving more smoothly now. So
I can only imagine the amount of changes you've had to go through. We always talk about it on the desk, the importance of the relationship between England leader and coach. And obviously you've got quite a storied one standing behind you in Glaive. What's the approach with him in terms of that preparation and how you guys work together?
Yeah, so I'm doing a lot of the similar stuff in Monty because Glaive and also Xander, the assistant coach, were quite happy to kind of let me run my system to begin with and you know, see how it goes, and it's going very good. So you know, doing similar things, doing a lot of the you know, I'm very involved in the ante and the prep work still, but they're obviously bringing a lot in terms of the game plan and you know, how the team should play in some specific rounds. So yeah, it's really good with him.
Side note, just because you're obviously playing with Glaive and Device, where were you? What were you doing back in when Astralis were in their prime, back in like 2018, 2019?
Yeah, I would have been in school, but I don't know if you've seen the 100Thieves video, but they found some of my old mates from the Discord, and I used to be a Astralis hater back in the days. So they had screenshots of me saying like, yeah, preying on Astralis' downfall, stuff like this. Yeah, I was a D1 hater back in the day, but you know, they're my teammates now. They're you know, they're great people, so very happy to play with them now.
And one final question. PVISION is your opponent today. You played and beat them back at IM Cologne. Obvious caveat, that was with Monty. What did you learn about James and the system that he likes to employ back in that game?
Yeah, I would say like I'm quite familiar with his play style. Like I've watched him a fair bit because, you know, he has some strong rounds, some good protocols on a lot of maps. So you know, in the past 2 times I've played them in the last 6 months on Monty, we won, and you know, we felt like we yeah, we're in control of the game, and on at least on the maps we won. So hoping to bring the same stuff today. Obviously edited some things. The team's now, you know, it's a new team, so they're not as familiar with them, but it's all good. We've gone through the prep very well, so hoping for a good result today.
Some people say that playing against James and his style can be a little bit frustrating. Do you find it frustrating, or do you quite like it?
On some maps it's worse than others. Like, yeah, and but thankfully, had a good successful veto just now, so we've gotten 3 maps that should be pretty, not to jinx ourselves, but should be pretty good for us. So yeah, hopefully win the game.
I won't keep you a moment longer then, Gesme. Thank you so much for your time, and yeah, good luck versus PVISION.
You know, I don't think Gizme's wrong. He can't be the only Astralis hater around here.
Yeah,
There's
just,
no way.
Just when Jacob thought he couldn't like him anymore, he said he's an Astralis hater. Now he's his favorite IGL.
Yeah, I haven't seen hard eyes like that on Jacob probably ever, now that I think about it. All things considered, though, it is a fun time to be a 100Thieves fan for Counter-Strike, for those guys in the project and the course that they're trying to put themselves on. Can they do it? That's a different question.
I think that's a maybe. You know, I think if they were to win this game, then sure thing, it's a fun time. But let's be honest, you know, this is a massive game for the Thieves in terms of acquiring VIS points, having a chance of qualifying for the second major as well of the year, which I know the first one was never realistic. The second one is still doable for them, still within reach. They have to beat PVISION in order to be in contention, to get some invites to some bigger tournaments, you name it. So, you know, the Thieves are not a team that is going to win this tournament. We can sort of like rule that out. It's almost like a mini final for them just to beat PVISION.
Yeah, we had a couple of those matchups, right, where one team has a lot on the line, and PVISION isn't as safe as some of the other teams we had in this situation. Definitely need to rack up some wins of their own, but you feel like there's a little bit more on the line for the Thieves.
Yeah, with the side of PVISION, let's, you know, we could talk about 100Thieves probably for a really long time if I had to think about it. Let's switch our focus. Let's talk about this James side that, you know, we were just being alluded to about it being a frustrating component to play against in the game. What makes it frustrating to the new viewer, Yanko?
Yeah, it's just how slow they can play at times, right? And then how much time they take before they finish rounds, and you feel like, there's something happening now, and they're still waiting, and you don't know what they're doing at that point in time. It's like, are they even going to try to do something or not? And that's where they get you. They're just way more patient than you are, and obviously, as he said, he got some kids from the streets of Face It and managed to get them to Tier 1 Counter-Strike. Obviously, a couple of those kids went back to the streets of Face It, with Not and Belchanok not being on the team anymore, Slackjazz being the first one coming in, and then Flit. And I love Flit that he's back with James and Dustin, obviously, at the Rio Major, right? He was part of that lineup that ended up lifting the trophy. I think he's a very good player, a guy that is capable of doing a lot on his own, doesn't require a ton of resources, you know, has great game sense, and, you know, was also affected by those different VP lineups and the mess that organization has become. So being back in familiar territory. In a way, I think will be good for Flit, but potentially even better for PVISION.
It's been such a wild period for PVISION. The last 7 months has been all over the place almost, you know, starting off the year by winning the Blast Bounty. We're in the final of Cluj-Napoca as well, you know, one of the most stacked tournaments we've had all year outside of the major, and then all of a sudden you go into a period where things are not working out. They start to speak publicly about perhaps changing players, then Hobbit out of nowhere comes in and tries to make a bit of a comeback. Now Slackjacks are coming in, you know, off to a decent start, you know, again, small sample size, but looks somewhat promising, and as you also said, and I very much agree with the fact that Flit is now coming in with a bit more of that experience, you know, not necessarily picked up in Face It, not necessarily picked up on the streets as well. It starts to look like a more well-rounded project, but let's not beat around the bush, you know. They were at a time 3rd, 4th in the world, you know, and people were like, maybe this is where we need to expect PVISION to be at for the future. I think it's one of those cases where the higher you fly, the harder you fall.
I think that speaks more about the state of some of the other teams at the time, and on paper the teams that should have been contenders, but I think there's no doubt that they've upgraded their roster and pretty much in a significant manner. So let's see now how long does it take for the two players to get up to speed. Shouldn't take too long for Flit, and if they can get some good results under their belt.
So we can do a little bit of a theorizing here, but I guess I could go along to say that the 100Thieves loss to Vitality versus the PVISION, or excuse me, the PV loss, it ages a little bit differently now.
That's right too. To some extent, it was a close series on cash, right? Which the teams haven't had reps on until that time. In a best of 3, it's going to be a little bit different, even though I don't feel like there's much room for surprises in this veto. So PVISION will be tested. I expect 100Thieves to go up with that Anubis pick, which they haven't played that much even with the old lineup. And when they did, it didn't look too hot.
You won't be getting the Cash and Inferno, at least from the side of PVISION, right?
No, and the Anubis pick, as Janko said, is coming in. Dust 2 as well. Makes an awful lot of sense. That's a game speciality, and that's a
Anubis standarda.
I'm quite curious why Gisby felt that it was such a comfortable map veto for them, and I guess that goes by the fact that Ancient is going to be the third map, a map they have voiced that they like to play, a map they played in the last year's qualifier as well. So I guess he's onto something. If you're the Thieves right now, you're playing 3 maps that you're familiar with playing and already have played at this tournament.
I expected these maps. I just thought PVISION would pick Ancient, and then that's going to be the decider, so just a different order of the maps, really. But I think it's just sort of what both teams had to do. That's why I say I think PVISION will also be prepared. I think they
PVISION'da көбірек шанс деп ойлаймын.
So let's see if they have enough in store to surprise Thieves on the map.
Let's find out who's got it all here at the very end of this day of Counter-Strike, a day full of it. So Anubis, Dust 2, Ancient, and me reminding you about EWC Play, that little QR code right there below me. Go get your phone out, scan it, give us your pick'em, let us know who you think is going to win. I'd ask you guys real quick, not even sure that we have time for it. So instead, let's just go to the stage.
Thieves taking on PVISION here, a best of 3 kicking off on Anubis. Just saw Bates make it to playoffs. Well, this one doesn't quite have the same stature. This is for survival down in the lower brackets. 100Thieves fell to Vitality on the opening day. They got kind of walloped 13-4 PVISION. Close loss to Bates as well. And we've just seen one young talent in Bait, in Sizzy, pop off in that last game. We get to see another today in this PVISION side. Slacks Jez been one to take keep an eye on. Playing a lot of online CS coming into this team. Very young player, 18 years of age, never signed for a professional organization. Quite a rogue pickup, but I think if there's one thing that we've seen, it's Dastan and Jame and PVISION have managed to bring players you never heard of into the limelight.
Yeah. That's their whole thing.
Anubis.
They had quite a run back in China the other day, so I'm excited to see, off the top of this new season, what this squad can accomplish.
Так, получил за смог.
2 teams that are making vast improvements right now. both fighting for survival.
До конца. Ага.
Ой-ой-ой.
Размен бар, отдельно к селу.
Out of PVISION.
Хорош.
And out of the CT's vision right now, Rain on this backstab. Well, here's the thing. You think you've outsmarted them. You think you pulled one past James. You have not. He's actually more patient than you. I hate to break it to you. There he is. Rain shot in the back of the head.
Так, device.
That was gnarly. Device dead in a second. It's a pistol round on the board for PVISION.
Раунд алды.
Gives me a trouble in that BO1 against Vitality. Talked about it being good learning experience.
Так, Anubis Tips. Келесі карта PVISION.
Impact on the board, which is not what we saw in this open qualifier run.
Тастан на чили, на расслабоне.
100Thieves, Kaspi was putting on record-breaking ratings. Showed up massively in their run. Not an easy one either. Found that.
Так, маған Пой дейтін ойыншы
over BC game.
Жақсы статистикамен бітіру керек жалпы осы. Өстіп өшті. Фэнтезида тұр.
A flash outside B here gives me sense him in. Zway knows what's coming.
Так, бмен пуш. Хорош, Zway. Хорош.
Zway farm.
Пистолет.
He loves this. Click comes in to help him, and they all get a couple of the ecos. What's Gizmi up to? Who's going to find him?
Just hanging out. How about you?
Әдем бүкіл киллдарда фармилкамен жасады.
How have you been finding the 100Thieves project? Huge.
I mean, obviously, way more exciting now that Gizmi's in it. It's not just because he's British, but also clearly if there's one thing we've learned from Monty at the major to Luminosity now.
Бүкіл 5 киллда фармилкамен.
A huge part of that team's success, and clearly the rain-led thing wasn't working.
Assalamualaikum. Waalaikum assalam.
Too chill to be an in-game leader. I agree.
Yeah, I did like some of the comments where he's like, yeah, you know, a round would start and he'd be focusing on what he's going to do.
Так, енді не істейді. Бір фамас. Төртемка. На жақта фармилкаларын қалдырды PVISION. Оны примерно центр Thieves. Фармилкалармен негізі бірінші раундты қайталаушы еді, немесе амейн кіріп істеп жатсын. Пой. Плюс М-ка. Фармилканың орнына.
Which I think has just been very cool to see. I was always a little bit worried that we were, you know, too far past the device prime, but the idea that he is having a bit of a resurgence, it's a good sign, because man, when you're watching this guy, you know, at his best, oh, there's nothing quite like
That's
it.
why the open qualifier for EWC was so fun. You had Device, you had Simple, you had JW, you had Crims,
all these old boys
showing up and actually still putting in a really good shift. So it's not just these old boys, Harry. The young guns, keep an eye on them as well. Anubis is poised map, but he's dead in this round, and Sierra takes connector instead with a couple of his own. Also had some great games on this very map, thinking about when 100Thieves beat Falcons to start the year, start the season.
Now,
PVISION have found the gap, but they know Rain can come back to main, so they've got to be very aware. Crossing in alone, no support. And Rain gets out with no trade from heaven. Slaxy Jez chases Spawn with just a dink. And this has gone very, very wrong here for PVISION. Good position. But shut down in the end. All of them forcing in 1v1s. It's ugly. He needed to swing main together.
Кон ойыншысы, иә, бұл жерде. Шешіп тастады деуге болады. Сирі, иә. Сирі айтпақшы бізде міне 2 килл. Қазір тағы да міне 3-ші килл.
Okay, this guy's crazy on this map.
All right. So you're expecting big things.
Так, ол. Авик бар. Сенің қолында. Так. 4 калаш.
He's already being very keen to get involved with these con pushes. James squad, you know, they've got a lot of patience. They'll sit back, they'll wait for you to try your opening moves. They don't give anything away to that early. Now looking for a bit of mid control. Gizme's close, and Device lining up a flashbang for him to come and fight. Gizme takes it low and slow, and just collects an opener for free.
Yeah, not a problem there. They're going to fall back into their bomb site, so mid completely left open. As PVISION do scale further forward. James holds con. No one making a move. Bit of a fake out in middle now. Draws Gizme's attention. Temple is a worry, but Device watching it from the back. Anti-flash, and they don't clear the corner. Big mistake as Poi doubles up before the AWP finds the headshot. 2v4 here. James got to go big.
Ay,
that's the right idea for James, but he fumbles the execution.
Unlucky.
Everything went according to plan for James there in that fight, but just couldn't deliver it. And now it's just away. 15 seconds, bomb dropped. All of PVISION lying in the connector. So he will join them.
It's a good map for 100Thieves, right? That's PVISION. It's a map that when we started the year, we saw them have some real trouble on it. You know the crackle when they even said the voice comes like, guys, screw this map, let's just go next. We don't play it, we don't crack it, whatever. They've actually, despite that, managed to avoid playing this map. Really, the whole year, they've only logged 6 games on it, 3-3, losing to teams you would kind of expect, but also beating Spirit in there randomly. So it's been high and low, but it's definitely not a go-to, which is weird because you feel like a team like a James would do well on a map that is heavy on gambles, but I guess it is also the CT aggression you need that maybe they have trouble with. They lose a lot of rounds on CT side. So gonna need this first half to start with a bit of a bang for PVISION, but right now it's getting snuffed out.
Rain tried to stay alive as long as he could. Gizme here to help him out. No ground gained. Cielo and James still gonna try and get something out of this round. But they've got Glocks. I don't imagine they do get anything out of this round. Let's see. Let's see what James can find. True, that is true.
Utility comes money, and you got to think the big picture when James in the server, okay? Got to zoom out. Then zoom out some more. But yeah, he is just dead here, so zoom back in.
Oh, you didn't timing.
See? $300. All worth it. So 3 rounds in a row for 100Thieves as the guns come back out.
Feels like they do want to try and do something about Poi down here in Con, because he's been annoying, just harassing on random timings. Been a bit of a focal point for the 100Thieves. As he goes there, he's brought down low by the nades. It's actually Gizme making a move with Device covering on this AWP. Good flash to set him up. And that's kind of been the nature of these rounds out towards middle. Just Device and Gizme playing well off of each other. And again, they've forced an advantage through. Man down. Big question for Jay. How do you recover this?
They have a lot of ideas, don't they? Pushes and plays and flash ups. He could take one more kill.
Опа! Деба, жауап берді. Тағы да флеш. Ойнауға болады екен мидта.
Way checking it with the bomb. Zero swings out.
Хорош.
Right there for the taking. That should be enough to win this round. Device tries to stop the bomb.
Here is Scope, so Molly comes in and Device forced back off the line. They play it safe. You know, as he gets you a double like that, kind of delivers you a bit of salvation in this round. You don't want to throw it away to the Device AWP.
Nice call there from James to reflash middle, though. Definitely would have come back to haunt them later in the round. Gizmi's in a position to drop con, to flank mid.
Temple.
In that man advantage, but
Temple, yeah.
Kill forces 100 Thieves to make another move. They go pushing B, they go right into Sway, so some well placed shots from him, and PVISION back on the board with guns.
Lukaslak siz Қазақ па дейді. Жоқ, Қазақ емес. Бірақ ұқсайды, иә.
Don't imagine that's a round that changes much for the 100 Thieves though, right? You can chalk it up with some nice shots for Zwei. I think largely the aggressive moves work well against these James T sides on Anubis. They're going to sit back. They're going to wait for them. But you see it stretches the resources very thin, right? There was no one immediately able to help him mid. Let's see if it does. 100 Thieves call in the timeout.
Lave talking at Rain right now.
Rain ашки қайда?
So maybe we see something
Моңғол ма дейді?
towards this A side of the map.
It is certainly nice to be in close proximity to the players here. Every timeout gets a turn around, see who's talking, what's going on. Stan sat back in his seat. No stress. All going to plan.
Қайтадан кон жаққа. Gizmi.
Yeah, this time just a crunch onto the water.
Хорош.
Jez, these are good trades. But has to now watch for this A main reaggress. And the Device don't actually commit to it. They hemorrhaged too many players there in the skirmish. You're worried that you make matters worse going for that swing, I guess. But now you're a man down and very split up.
Felt like there really was a window to help out their team there, but they decided against it. So Device is just now locked in on this angle. Rain reinforcing Sierra on B. Pressure being put on by PVISION. Oh, jump spot might have actually seen him there. Going to go for the spam. Sierra close. I think they know. Chambers walked out through Con as well. He is in the site. Two kills there. Rain against the world.
All right, well, abandon everyone on that push in the water. Let's see if maybe this is why.
Oh, does it miss?
It's not spreading.
Oh, man.
Can't stop the rain with fire.
Serema был позиционный. Ай-яй-яй. 25 секунд. Ай, хорош.
You fake it out and check him. Nice hold from PVISION. Maybe realizing, hey, that molly could have missed. Did look deep. And so Rain lives for only a few more seconds.
Device.
You know, Rain can't believe that as he swings out.
Could have won the round, but no.
James Avik бере ма? Ала ма? Или Авиксіз ойнай ма? Негізі Анубиста Авиксіз ойнаған дұрыс сияқты шабуылда. Вячеслав Винокуров екен дейді. Маған Саха, Якутиядан или Кореец. Түрі келмейді, иә, Вячеславқа.
The water crunch, I think, could have had Rain helping more. Even if he dies, his Device in main to back up the A rush. Like right here, that's the time.
Замбады өткен рейн дейді. Хорош.
Vigilant clears here from PVISION.
Feels a little rough for 100Thieves because like in these last 2 rounds,
Соңғы ақша ма? Я соңғы ақша. 100Thieves.
Right, like the
Device,
plays made a lot
rain.
of sense. They've had all the util to do it, but they've just kind of fumbled on the actual execution of it. From the water push to that Zero double, it felt like it was destined to come through. He had players blind, players changing guns.
He's nading the smoke.
Түріне қарап слаб деп айта ғой негізі.
A minute 20 though, when you're up against these Jame-led squads, that doesn't tell you too much. Jez was still hanging around, and the rest of the squad going clear mid.
Қазақстанға келсе атын кім деп сұраса біреу Вячеслав десе, ана жерде примерно көздер банка болады.
It's fine. Try and block middle with more util, but Flit's going up and over.
Вячеслав емессің ғой сен деп.
Pressure here. They still sit outside of B. Never really played for the water control in this round too heavily. But mid player has dropped out to Con, and Flit will join him. So this is a B split with only 2 players in position. Sira's so scared. He's starting to lean the right way, but they run through the volley, so they're breaking his timing. 100Thieves in trouble.
Rotates might arrive, but it's just one man out towards the spawn. You're asking a hell of a lot of Sira.
Oh, touchdown.
It's good.
Touchdown,
that's your
touchdown.
Back into this retake, 3-on-3.
Retake.
All 3 groups spawn side for 100Thieves. Set up back in main to try and play around this bomb. It's Jez fighting, but James got his cross. Cuts down the first man around the corner.
Қарау керек. Ай, хорош, қайда қасын, қайда.
Deny that save, knocks out 2 players, and even though Rain's going to survive with this AWP, it's a retake you don't attempt, and you only get out with 1 gun.
Сақтап отырса да. Так, есіп тұр.
Not even that's guaranteed.
Bam.
Rain will hold on. Still the lead mounting.
PUBG'da не болды? Отравление болды ойыншыларда. Турнирді тоқтатып, 2 матчты ертеңгені қалдырды. Ертең ойнайды.
100Thieves were
либо ертең 8 матч ойнайды, бүгінгі матчтарды 2 Мирамарды тағы да қосып, либо 1 Мирамарды қосады ертең, и тағы да 1 Мирамарды соңғы күнге қалдырады. Солай дұрыс негізі менің ойымша, 7 матчтан ойнаса.
I mean, one of the remarks you always used to have when you would watch these James squads over the years is how he kind of got his opponent to play on his terms, right? The slow style, these little poppy explosive finishes. And you know, Gizmi might have proven himself in at the major and has had some reps now with this 100Thieves team, but will he kind of fall into that trap here on Anubis? Because we've lost some of these early aggressive moves for 100Thieves as the game's gone on. Again, just playing around with their setback in their bomb sites, not looking for anything early. Maybe it's going to come in the mid-round. Got that device AWP out here in middle. And you'd love for it to be involved. So there's a gun to be picked up. And he makes something of this round.
They're going to push further forward. Gizmi was in that smoke, so he can get a bit of a flank off. They're going to lose this site. 4v4 and the site is lost. Device has to do more.
Device is here in position, but so is James. Scoped up on the bricks, he's ready for that swing.
Completely still lives.
And now you just feel like you've lost your window, right? Your chance to capitalize. Try and find that opening. James survives. And they deal with Gizmi on that mid-lurk.
On kill.
Behind him.
James жетеу, Зуэйх 10.
Very strong start to this game.
James почти 2 тағы да 1 kill жасаса.
Damn, even when James is caught off guard, he still doesn't get punished.
Обновлен состав не істейді екен деп келдік дейді. PVISIONдар ма? Әлде 100Thieves па? Екеуі де жаңа состав.
And so often, you know, the way that this would go is like you kind of make your usual moves, you get a little bit aggressive, you go into a Jame default, and it loses, you know, 1 or 2 rounds. And that's what's happened to 100Thieves here. And then it kind of, you know, freaks you out of going for those same aggressive moves. And if you end up being too stagnant, kind of letting PVISION have full run of the map, they've got you right where they want you. That's Jame in control at that point. So this is now the test for 100Thieves. They're going to burn another timeout ahead of this. Clave talking to the troops.
And you wonder if, like, this timeout is just going to proceed another set play, another aggressive move. Last timeout they did the water crunch out Conan window, the A main lack of push. And so will PVISION try and call around.
Рейна кесесі вообще басқа адам, я?
Or do they just try and hit a bomb site?
Хоббит қайда алып тастады Хоббитті? Хоббиттің орнына флит келді.
What adjustment is being made? It's up to
Ойнай алмай қалды Хоббитпен. Ой, бөмен пуш қарады, бәмс. Әдемі.
Sierra has at least.
Sierra ойнап тұр, я? Қарандар не істеп жатқан Jame.
He's walked up close.
Ай, хорош.
Good realization once he spies.
Тергеде түсінді, я?
Over the top of the ruins, doesn't see him on the long side, and just eyeballs that smoke, ready for the push.
I just love a Jame POV, man. I just love a good Jame game.
Вообще кетті, вообще. Итак, заменамен, типа, арендаға келді ғой.
Jame instantly leaves with this bomb, rejoins the rest of the gang outside of A.
Doesn't it just feel a bit too obvious to call that pause and then go for an insta-B push right into the AWP? Of course, PVISION are ready for it. They have been playing very slow on this C side, and it is doing wonders. 2 more frags just filter through, and Jame's shot won't matter too much. Bomb is back in main, but Jame wants to end it. Device says no. Escaping is a different beast here. He's getting tracked by Flit. See the paw prints.
Номер примерно алады, я, Викта.
Good spot for Device, but
Флит іздеуге кетті. 9-шы номерді іздеуге кетті. Ксиело, я. А бомбада? Қалмай ма ешкім?
I should have this. Oh.
Бір тексеру керек қой, болды. Қажет емес енді тексеріп. Бомбада отырып, енді білет қайда екен девайс. Prefire. Префпен шығу керек. Так, Факса Джесс, Авикті алды болды, әдемі. Займда Авик болады. Адырын қайтып келді деп еді, состав қалай ойнап жатыр дейді. Павлодарда болған турнирді жеңді, $30,000. Бірақ игры будущего да ойнай алмады. Қалай ойнай алмады? Кім кетті? Тим Қазақстан қарсы ойнады. Вивер, Ботбай. Кім тағы да составта? Солар қарсы ойнап.
PVISION are feeling a bigger degree of comfortability around this water control as well, feeling like they've really, you know, done enough legwork in the map to stop 100Thieves from going for these type of peaks. This time they move right into this spot on the map. James all right place, right time again.
He's quick today. Not a bad start. Everybody doing their job. One kill back for Sierra. Wants to try to get that AK, but
also Sierra ойнап тұр жалпы.
PVISION are all over the shop. Look at Flit.
Ойнап тұр да, ұнап тұр да ойнына.
Sierra considering aggression. As he backs up into Flit. Easy done. Last player revealed by the smoke. It's looking all too simple here for PVISION.
Қайтадан девайс. МКСмен. Девайс.
100Thieves just left pissing in the wind.
PVISION тоқтататын бар ма вообще?
PVISION based joke.
Өлмей уже қаншама kill жасап жатыр.
I can explain it.
Device
has been good in the saves.
What else can he do?
Хорош.
I think you always think about it through the lens of how James does what he does to win, but I think also it's like the way losing to this guy feels like the way that this half is kind of feeling right now for 100Thieves would be brutal. I imagine it's kind of like if he was starving, but like actually, you know, like it's just slow, inevitable, bit by bit, and you know what's happening.
And
like
it's like those 3 rounds they won, that was like a big meal. You know?
Yeah.
You're kind of like crashing after the big meal. You felt great. Everything's gone perfectly, and you realize there's just no food in the pantry.
It's like a very unique kind of
damn.
For that.
Finally gets it and gone.
Oh, he was on it, but just a slight miss.
That
hurts. And so, not even too aggressive a play, but a 4v5. That's a cool flash. Lands in the top of con. But nobody home. PVISION group up for an A hit. And to be honest, Rain has not been able to do much to stop these when they come.
Молодой бар, сосын Мун бар Magic составында, и Дастан міне бапкер бар, PVISIONда.
Good timing on the reblock at least, but this exec's getting rolled out. And Flit has heard Gizmi's rotate. Just gonna play on through, break that smoke. Gizmi dead after the first, and Flit able to cut down these players in rotation. This is a very solid runaway T-side.
They've been doing work on this map. That much is clear. I think 100Thieves came in to punish pick, and PVISION have been packing. That was a nice exec. Triple molly. On a double smoke, nowhere to go.
Бірінші матчтарын жеңілді, енді көреміз қазір келесі. Сеткалары қиын. Сеткалары қиын болып тұр. Олар бірінші матч кімдермен ойнады? Қарайым.
And so slowly but surely 9 rounds will reach this board.
Mongols қарсы ойнады бірінші матчтарын.
Oh, you know, it's just a slow creep.
Келесі матчтары, айтам. Келесі матчтары 3-те макс қарсы.
It just leaves you in so many
такой
gut-wrenching positions. Even there, playing the 1v4, knows it's all over, knows he can't win that. There isn't time. They're not going to misplay it. You have to play the round. And so this has been a runaway trade for Jame and Co. 100Thieves looking a little stunned at the end of that first half. Sure, you might expect a bit more mileage on the T side, but you really don't get better than that for Jame and the gang. So, you know, you said early on how James looking sharp, but I feel like everyone is right now. Like, in all of these fights, you don't get a second chance. If you miss your opportunity, if you catch a bad timing, it's over. I know 100Thieves had some really nice ideas early on to do with flashes as to how they were going to try and force some early fights, but that petered out so quickly, didn't it? So now one of their T-side device with a smoke, and this P250 to try and duel into the connector. Rain spent that first half just getting dominated on this A-bomb site. Yellow dead, and A-space taken, 100Thieves move in.
Storming the board, going down, and nice shot from Jame to open up this round. They can make this happen.
Boy is very far away.
Flit just checked the flank, and now Poi has even better timing. This should be impossible for PVISION, but that kill will open it up. Poi hits his backstab. Jame tucks in, looks the wrong way, but saves the day. 2v2. Gizmi follows up, and now this is impossible. They will not give him the fight. There's no kit, and there is no time, even for Jame. Nice shot. Seals this round here for 100Thieves.
It's the first massive step in the right direction, isn't it? Because you said earlier how some of the CT struggles are there for PVISION. They could have forgot about all of that if they find a way to pull off that pistol. So this is a huge stride for the 100 Thieves. And they do want to make a comeback happen. They're on the better half on their map pick.
You've got to be telling yourself it's doable, right? It's a Nubis T side, and exactly the point you mentioned, the reason that we even see 100 Thieves go for this map pick.
Бұл характер бар да, қанша ойнайды. Характер болса да, енді бірінші матч Монголс қарсы ойнай алмады вообще. Қанша?
I think it's why you see Dastan hit them with the instant timeout too, right? Like now he's aware this is a job that is far from over.
Now the game really begins.
0-5 кедемен bitirdi. Slugs
with this roster.
Slugs ba? Slugs.
Yeah, Slugs. Look at that land experience.
Yakutiyadan сияқты.
Only a few played in his career.
Не бар қолында? 500 пик вообще. Тіге алмады, full эко. Жоқ, 5-7 бар екен, Севада. Негізі мен ойнағанда қол берем осындай не пистолетканы ұтылған кезде просто 2 флеш аламыз да А мейн пуш жасаймыз. Бұл жерде да не еді қой 5 Юсуппен не істейсің. Хотя бы минус беріп, гандарын алып, ойнау керек қой. Фармилка біреу ғана Gizmi'да.
It would be really nice for Gizmi to just catch like one of these players at the end of this, because you don't really know what PVISION are working with in this round. So you see USP, you feel a lot better about it. You know, the guns are coming out next.
We'll go for a bit here.
I'm going to try and make some money. But they've gotten away from him. Okay, 4 rounds the difference as this rifle round is ready to come through for the CTs.
Feels weird to just see them saving 4 USPs, but you definitely know guns are coming out here. Don't want to give away any kill bonus money in a lost round. Gizmi does upgrade.
Vitality дәуірі бітті ау дейді. Сол, Vitality. Қазір жоқ бейттер.
James, the captain, loves his gambles. But Anubis is a lot more about well-timed CT aggression. So let's see if they go for any of that, or if they are hinging on James reading the game in this first rifle round.
Vitality да. Қиын болады деп айта алмаймын.
Thieves out here towards A, but they don't commit to anything yet. Poi on a lurk.
Бірақ қателіктерге енді орын жоқ Vitality. Төмен сеткаға түсіп, келесі матч ұтылса болды. Газель примерно дайындап береді аренаның сыртында.
Very heavy mid setup, and as they go looking for whoever threw that util earlier, they do spot Poi. This is going to give them pretty quick rotations in towards A, and they're moving over to start to pad out this bomb site. Lock in at main.
Хайы кетті. Тағы да хайы шығайын деп жатыр. Ой, Рейн.
Rain with a TK. And they don't feel like they can go in on the back of this. Boys mid-lurk, players rotating, but things feel awkward. You've heard that temple player go quiet now, and you're having to walk this bomb through the water.
Oh, they're going to let Poi play late, but that really just requires these com players to get something done, to put some pressure on this site. Everyone's rotating. PVISION have read it. They've moved 3 players over. Need a kill now. Poi is going to be too late to play.
Bu da şeymiş.
Do anything. One more kill needed at the back of the site, and the time is expired. And Poi is left lurking nowhere. PVISION with a great gamble call there to full rotate out. It is just Flit left in CT as everybody goes big.
Жігіт ойнау керек жалпы. Маған керек болып тұр. Фэнтезиде бар. Фэнтези командада. Виталити просто тир 1 командалар қарсы жақсы ойнайды, осындай командалар типа тир 2, тир 3 команда қарсы ойнау любой командаға қиын, типа тир 1 командаға.
I think because things are flowing, you know,
оқи алмайды оларда. Олар тупо жүгіреді фейсті сияқты.
The flow of the game. You know, I feel like whenever his rosters are kind of winding up, you see his reads get worse. And I always wonder if that's because he's having a micro a little bit more. But he's had a very solid read on 100 Thieves throughout this Anubis.
Hobbit oynaydı ғой деп келген едім дейді. Hobbit жоқ уже.
He's a captain who just kind of played with his intuition. Again, this triple mid, I think PVISION are liking this because it gives them that ability to rotate heavily around the map. And if anyone is sent here to try and come for the mid space, they've got a nasty surprise waiting for them. 2 players around this corner. James spotting from afar.
Oh my god. Doesn't see anything. It's 3 here. Dead man walking. Just push on that timing.
Well, the bomb's outside of B. That's where 100 Thieves were hoping this could end up. For Rain crossing here.
Hoppa.
Went to reposition. That's when they peek in. Holds on with a double. And that'll keep you interested in this retake.
Rank is fast. I wonder if they heard it though. Flick did stop running eventually. Bases pushed up.
Турнирде норм ойнаған сияқты. Мүмкін бір турнирға шақыртып, просто замена ретінде көмектес деп. Дастан аралсады ғой Хоббит. Мүмкін Дастан шақыртып
and that responsibility has fallen onto the shoulders of Rain.
Ойна бізге деп, сосын
James is the kid. The Flit's got to move into cover. Rain swings out and they line him up. James with the trade. And a nail-biter of a defuse, but he thinks he's got it, and I'm inclined to trust him. 11 on the board.
I love how he just never sat that as well. He like full baited wide on the angle. He let his teammate commit to the fight and then just swings off to trade, guaranteeing the round, not letting Rain get away with anything. 11-5, and I definitely still think there were ways this game could have gone wrong for PVISION, but they look stable now on the CT side. They made some good rotations. Sway gets a massive double kill when his team gets caught off guard on awkward timing.
Нереальный перформанс болған кезде Қытайда PVISION'дан мүмкін қалушы еді.
It's given them real quick rotates. Like, there's no way in this game yet that 100 can know that that's how they've been playing. The time that they went A, they ran into 2 players, they ran into 3 players, you know, a third guy quick rotating over. And it's telling you, oh my, how are they reading us like this? You know, they're in our heads. And in reality, no, it's just these 3 mid guys. If they're not getting contact, they rotate them A at the first drop of util.
You don't really want to rush on this map on T side, but it is the kind of setup that if you just started rushing bomb sites, you would win rounds because it would leave PVISION so out of position for those post plants.
But that's where it kind of ties in. Like, the game has slowed down on James say so, and you're playing into his hands.
A Hobbit жаңа адам.
Didn't even know you could do that. Just put himself on the
Дастан шақырда, Джейм по-любому флит деп айтты.
Throw nade stairs, but it's not far off the mark. They're 5 runs. It's not a rush, it's just a quick pop here for 100 Thieves.
Қай жақта болып жатыр? Францияда, Парижда.
Goal for James really is just get your one, right? Get one shot off on that AWP, set up in a 5v4.
He's getting his one.
There it is, and it's smoke to heaven. Just a tad.
Tağda bir minus. 2 entry var.
Blitz even siphoned one from the ranks. And 100 Thieves scrapping for this bomb plant. Chance to get it down with the Gizmi Molly coming in. find their way to a bomb plant, and Gizmi's even trying to scale. Yellow shuts him out of it. Zero throwing into an unwinnable clutch, just doesn't know where to look. This is a super oppressive CT side.
Doesn't that just feel like it encapsulates all these rounds, all these late rounds, just unwinnable? 100 Thieves just put into constant positions they are not allowed to close, and PVISION running all over them. 12-5 now, and this CT side has gone by in the blink of an eye. Pistol round gave 100 Thieves a chance, but ever since rifles came through for PVISION, this game has felt over. This is 100 Thieves, what is meant to be a very comfortable map for them. A map that we've seen great results in. Double nade puts him on 2 and he's still not dead.
Doesn't even relinquish any type of control here, hangs around. Knows they could be close, but he's got Flip nearby to help him. Thieves
Қанша хп шешеді? Не, граната тиген кезде денеге. Бір хп ма? Или 3 хп ма? Фурия ертен ойнайды. Фурия ертен. Сағат 7-8-де примерно. Екінші матч оларда. Бір хп дейді.
There he is. Zero deleted, and that's the split. On this split, mopped up. It's just this B-play. Boy with a double. The other two in main side. Reigns wrestled it back. Flit, is he coming through? Right through that smoke. Backstab, and Reigns gone. Device. Can't hack it. PVISION shut down 100 Thieves, and they do so convincingly. Anubis. Elimination on the line. 100 Thieves having to grind through the open qualifier. Is this where it all comes undone?
Yeah, you know what? PVISION reminding us, or rather reminding the 100 Thieves, that there are levels to this stuff. Right? I've got Jacob, I've got Yanko. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened, this sort of tumultuous stumble that we just saw here from the 100 Thieves side, and what would arguably be one of their better maps to play.
Yeah, that was unfortunately a non-game of Counter-Strike to some degree. I think the T side of PVISION was smooth, effortlessly, just slowly but surely rolling all over the Thieves. I think it's best described in the way you're sitting and you're watching each round unfold, but there's no climatic, ending to the round. There's no tension, there's no nothing in the round. It's just slowly but surely game eating the Thieves and then walking into a bomb side as they please. So not the most exciting game of Counter-Strike, but if anything, I think not only one step ahead, maybe 11 or something.
I just think 100 Thieves hate
примерно 5 минуттай. Сосын Dust2 көреміз.
On their CT side, a lot of the rounds, PVISION doesn't really have to do much outside of deal with that aggression, and then sort of just take care of business in the mid to late round with that advantage. Which on a map like Anubis really isn't too complex.
No, you looked at Destins came as well. Like he almost fell asleep, being the coach in this game. He didn't have to do much, and that's at least what I'm left with. It didn't feel like it took a lot for PVISION to cruise through this game. As much as you want to give credit to the team for trying, maybe on the CT side to be aggressive and be proactive, it never really panned out.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot in the tank there for the 100 Thieves, which is, I guess it becomes a bit more apparent when you look at these two at surface level, especially about the side with PVISION. I mean, it's just clearly more cohesive. It's clearly more of a team unit operating in the server.
Yeah, we're talking about a team that 5 months ago were number 3 in the world on the world ranking, and then sure, they had a bit of a down period, gone through a couple of roster changes, but the core of their lineup is still the same. The in-game leader is still the same. The coach behind them is still the same. And then we're talking about the Thieves who are still trying to establish themselves as a team. So it's not that I expected it to be this one-sided, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's a fair representation of where the two teams are at right now.
I expected a lot more, and granted that win against Falcons on Anubis, that was a lot of anti-strat, that was just Reigns sort of finding opening after opening, finding good contact plays and whatnot, and here, the A executes didn't really pan out from them early on. Some team kills, it got a little bit messy and they just couldn't get that momentum on their T side to sort of at least have an attempt at a comeback.
Tell me a little about how in round 7 Gizmi tries to get active, but then no.
Yeah, they had success. They did this like 2 or 3 times in the half, this exact play. It didn't work out first time. They kept going back to it. You know, the flash coming in, Poi, Gizmi jumping down the window. They get the 1 kill, but then Slack just 2 great kills to even out the situation. This is what I mean. They just keep going. They're always going to come at you, right? And if you know that, if you're PVISION, it's not the hardest thing in the world to deal with, right? Sira gets punished, and they know obviously Flash came in, 1 more player is there, they deal with him, and it's a pretty straightforward round for PVISION.
It's tough to do much against it, right? Because I understand why they want to, given the layout of Anubis, I understand why you want to be aggressive. I understand why you want to try to do something on the CT side instead of just sitting back and wait, but that's exactly what James wants you to do, right? He's so good at orchestrating his team and just waiting for that aggression, first handoff, and even if in this round where you showcased that they were successful getting the first kill, but there was never a way they could get away from there without getting traded. There's no, continue or follow-up plan, or I don't know by you, Yanko, but at that point, if you want to play that aggressive, then go all in, then have all members be aggressive at the same time and see if you can create enough chaos that it can be a 2v2 or 3v3, but if you just send 1 or 2 guys out at this point, even if he gets the first kill, there's no way to get away from that position without getting traded at some point. And I feel like Jame and PVISION are one of the best teams in the world. They're just sitting back and waiting for exactly that. Whether you're playing PVISION, you're playing the old version of VP, you could never do that. I've been on the server against Jame before as well. It's the most frustrating thing to grow up as a player because you want to do something to change the course of the game, but you also know that the second you do something, you just get owned.
Yeah, and the risk reward too. You have to kind of put that in comparison to it being a team game, 5v5. Jame, plenty of input here felt, and I'm pretty sure with the 4 opening duels that he's got to show to his accolades here for this map, that probably helps a lot too, Yanko.
But wait, there's more, right?
Wait.
And they have different sorts of plays, the Thieves, but it's the same idea, right? Like it's still aggression. There is more of it, and Jacob was alluding to it. The Jame is pretty good at getting these reads and putting himself even in the right spot. So towards the end of the half, another gun round. Here's a double flash out of B main. Jame doesn't even get blind from it. Aware that the second player can try to sneak in. Those are 2 entries right then in a 4v3. Slack Jazz, and he was really sharp on this map. Once he gets that kill, Gizmi feels like he has to activate. Flit punishes him, and they close out yet another round, and then it's just becomes too much at some point, right? I understand Anubis, it's not an easy map to play on the CT side, and you feel like you have to do this time and time again, but you need to have another gear, except all gas, no brakes.
Yeah, shout out Andrew Callahan while we're here. I mean, great stuff.
And Bo Callahan,
I suppose. How about also, Jacob, paint for me the picture real quick. How does Dust 2 look any different than the first map of this series?
I mean, it's a map that is, if you want to play this style of Counter-Strike where you constantly try to be proactive and be in your face, I think Dust 2 is a bit more open on the CT side. Whether you want to go in towards lower, you want to re-aggress on catwalk, or you want to push out long at a timing, I think it's a more open map than Anubis, where it's always like you're feeling your fish in a barrel almost on that CT side. So if that's the play style they opt to go for, I think there's a higher success rate or a higher chance of finding success. With that being said, though, PVISION is no slouches on Dust 2. I feel like that's been a home for them for quite some time, and I don't know, Yanko, I felt no tension in this game whatsoever, and there's nothing that suggests to me that it's going to be much more in Dust 2.
Yeah, the teams will start on the CT side again because PVISION picked the T side on Anubis, right? And here, I'm curious to see, does Jame focus more on mid to B? Because you have Device and Rain, you imagine they're both B towards the A bomb site. Rain, Dust 2 has been one of his best maps. It's one of his favorite maps as well, right? So here, let these guys play a little bit, play some more default, let them read the round and then see what they can come up with in the mid round. You can be aggressive, you just don't need to do it at the very start of the round all the time.
Well, Anubis done, Dust 2 up next, Ancient perhaps to close us out if we need it. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We go to a quick break. We come back with more PVISION 100 Thieves and what is do or die time here in Paris. Esports World Cup marches on when we return.
Motion Control 3 is now live on WaveSpeed AI. More precise motion transfer with more stable character performance. With just one reference video, any character can replicate real human movement. AI video creation is entering the era of true motion control. Try it now on WaveSpeed AI.
We were there. For every click, every clutch, every respawn. We were there for the years of grind. And we're here. Now. The proud founding partner of EWC. Powering the biggest event in gaming. Shoulder to shoulder with the world's best. Making history. Greatness deserves a stage. Lenovo Legion. Reach your impossible.
Thieves' fate at EWC now comes down to Dust 2. After a shocking one-sided win from PVISION on Anubis to start this elimination series, now we're going to Gizmi's old stomping ground, I guess, and one that the 100 Thieves are still very well versed on. So hope is not lost. They're hanging on by a thread.
It's a weird pick because it is a go-to for 100 Thieves, and it is also not only the most played but the highest win rate map, but it's against lesser opposition. So I think that PVISION have gone over these games and realized, I don't rate this team, or I don't rate what they're doing. I think we can exploit them. They clearly had a great game plan back on Anubis. You know, when we saw 100 Thieves play Spirit on this map, bear in mind it was online, they got 13-0'd. You know, so I think PVISION are probably still feeling pretty confident to pick in to 100 Thieves' best map on paper. This is a new level of competition. It's also LAN. It's also high stakes. It's also something that you'd expect 100 Thieves to be able to deal with the experience on their team, but that was just a really ugly first map. Could not get a grip of the Jame game. 20-7.
Yeah, and what a game it was, right? Not just the right reads, the right ideas, but as an individual, Jame was a force of nature. His AWP striking a good bit of fear into 100 Thieves, never knowing where it would crop up next.
Yeah, and now we're on Dust 2, so we're talking Orbs, right? Sure, Device, legend in his own right, but he didn't really get going on the Orb there, right? He had a couple of chances on the CT side, got shut out for the most part, a couple of opening deaths. And well, Jame is here, there, and everywhere. So that head-to-head is not going to be easy for Device in this game. And it's also, you know, honeymoon period for PVISION, right? It's their second event with the roster. Flit added just a couple of weeks ago. Slacks and Jez coming into the season. Played his first, you know, bigger LAN in China. Did decent, had some good maps, had some poor maps, but, you know, definitely showed some of the form that we saw from this young player online. Leading into PVISION, and I'm excited for his future, and maybe more games from them at EWC if they can beat 100 Thieves.
PVISION, Bad Boom деген не букмекерлер ғой, оларға турнирларда не өз аттарын қоюға рұқсат бермей, PVISION болып ойнап жатыр, Bad Boom бізде International'да ойнап жатыр, не The International'да, Dota'да.
That's probably going to give Jame a talking
Bad
to
Boys
for that one.
Sonda Boom Boys
Gizmi is the reason it's not in place.
One Win тағы да букмекер тоже.
What do we think of Smokes? Itaby comes in. It's an upper tunnels crunch with 3 players here.
Well,
they know it's B now, that's for sure.
Not leaving much to the imagination here. On, but blindsided by the ball player. Just so opened up that angle, clean tap for Zwei, and he's got one more guy in front of him. Rotates, arrives, Sira helping out, and Zwei. One impressive shot, but he needed 3 of them. 100 Thieves get on the board early to start their Dust 2 campaign.
It's relieving, I think, for 100 Thieves. It almost went very wrong there, but a couple of important pistol shots connecting for Gizmi.
Бірақ маған 2-1 женсе дұрыс, иә? 2-1 есебімен жеңеді деп қойдым мен.
Full eco,
100Thieves
just a
қарсы.
smoke invested. Just to keep them from farming in the middle.
Негізі. Дасты қарап, 100Thieves ұтса, и сосын Ancient қараймыз. Әдем болсын. Жалпы осы Ancient және Anubis. Жақсы көретін карталарым. Таза атсасын бұл карталарда. Жүгіресің. Ассаламағалейкум, брат, қалайсың? Уағалейкум ассалам, шүкір, жақсы өзің. Там PVISION алғама. По идее, девайсын рейнін жанкерлер көп болу керек. Бізде де, Қазақстанда да. Ты еще девайс қой бұл? Легенда. Рейнда.
And as is often the case, just using the full.
Бірақ PVISIONда бізде дастан дейсің.
It's nicer, like you. This is the 9 to 5 for PVISION. You know, this is how they play. This is what they're used to. I think it's
қош келдік дейді.
Nice because you know your opponents just having to sit there in this round. 100Thieves know that they're going to win this.
Лайн қарап,
Or at least
түсіну
feel
керек
like
қой
they
енді.
should.
Сосын бұйырса жүргіземіз.
Just making them wait, wasting their time.
Шақырды мені.
You can, you don't get any.
Қонақ ретінде PGL
You've got the
Астанаға.
guns coming out in the next. It's no skin off your back.
Kaspi болды, сол жерге шақырды.
Isn't that just the goal? Sure,
Бірақ
extra
барған
kill is
жоқ.
nice, but blocks on dust too.
Мүмкіндік болды жүргізуге.
Some people just want to play the game though. People should come through.
Не істеймін бұл жерде. Желание болса да, ойнаймын да я CS:GO-ны, бірақ түсіну керек қой.
Already buying into the game economy system.
Командалар не істеп жатқан.
It feels like this might just end me with him charging through the tunnels with a buy like that. Bomb is coming back through spawn now. A grenade onto yellow.
Осы EWC-ні осылай жүргізіп, watch-party ашып, қарап. Сосын мүмкін жүргіземіз, қосыламыз ақырындап. PUBG Mobile'да ғана емес, CS:GO-да ақырындап жүргізу керек.
Let's give it a side eye. Talking a lot as well.
Көреміз. Білмеймін.
Here we go.
With the block down there in mid, so you don't have this mid component. Just the
Джеймін
tunnels push.
Касяға.
They get past point.
Бірақ ойыншылары шықты.
One more man close by at the B hill. It's Gizmi who would be reacting next. Is he going to try and go early? Smoke down in the door. Flash to try and send him through. James dodges. Ready for that exact move.
Екі емес, минус бір алшы еді.
Across the doors, looking at the ground, looks up for the flash and takes that kill. Why has he done that? It's perfect. Jamie even missed his first flash in B. I think if it lands, Rain's in trouble, and I think that's an even cleaner round for PVISION, but not required. They find the entries. So we're continuing to find important opening kills. Doing so all last map. Popping sites open.
Сақтап отырса ТМК-ларын. Статистика заман емес, девайс. 4 килл, 1 рет өлді. Сиера 2 рет өлтірді, және 0. Өлген жоқ. 2-де 0.
Lobbing in and replenishing this short smoke, and then later the CT smokes a hell of a lot in this game. It started from round 1 in the pistol, even. And obviously Gizmi denied it there, but I wonder if you're trying to kind of force 100Thieves just back into, you know, like the most passive, no info, device playing over towards the site, Gizmi in rotation, everyone kind of anchored in place, because it is leaving this B site really susceptible. You haven't had these quick rotates in a lot of these rounds, haven't had a great deal of forewarning as to where they're ending up.
Ascending it.
It's
a sick move, and they get out as well.
PVISION were not ready for that, and this is a team that are ready for many a thing. The double long doors push right off the rip.
Perfect flash too.
Short тексеріп жатыр. Ақырындап.
What you can do about that.
Well, they've always been kind of signaling this intent to 100Thieves. They're doing all the short util, but we haven't really seen them use this space yet. This time they actually go and get the control. So 3 players out on the catwalk, flit a little later out through the long doors.
Контейнердің үстін тексере ма?
Mid to be smoke for Jane.
Флит. Әлде тұра ма сонына дейін? Сонда шығып. Я шорт бірінші ойнайтын сияқты, сосын ғана барып флит ойнайды.
Whose flash comes first, device forces it.
Flash кетті,
He didn't see anyone, now he hears him running. The realization coming in, but he's out of position.
Хорош. Бұл енді калаш.
That lets you down, gives me not getting the spot on those players up on shore.
Хорош, флит, хорош. Лонг таза.
Timing on his long wrap, just waiting out there in the doors.
КТ-ні күту керек. КТ шорт.
You're out of position here. Numbers might decide it. CT just feels like too much of a choke point to try and retake through.
Have no smokes either.
So 100Thieves get out of there.
Wow. It's a rough round of saving, right?
We
With the
can
damage
surround.
done, they know they've done good damage. The dink on Cielo getting that entry, 1 health remaining. And I think Gizmi doesn't see them because the molly's still up.
Бір ғана минус алды, иә, бізден. Звейх.
Just a little bit of burn in his face. And so he drops off too late.
That's a round where 100Thieves get the opener, get a clean break on a 5v4. There's no trade. They even had the right idea for that play out towards short. Felt like you did everything right, and it still goes against you.
Мүмкіндік болды.
Only death in the round coming from that long door push.
Көрсеткен жоқ, иә. Әдемі флеш, екеуі блайндта. Просто шығып, Гизмені жерде 2 минус беруге болатын еді.
And that's what undoes you. I'm glad they have
Әдемі
plays and they
сетап
make
болды,
plays,
негізі
but
флеш.
it does feel like sometimes it comes back to haunt them.
Шыққан жоқ. Опа! Тигізі ма? Жоқ.
Here we go. Gizmi putting the rifle to use. Up top mid, but
Қайтадан
it's going to get out.
Had a flash ready to go and everything to help him,
Gizmi
but it just
қателесті.
comes on an awkward timing for him before he's close to the corner. Flash never arrives.
Мидтан флеш берген жоқ па сонда?
So 5v4.
Әлде ерте берді ма? Осындай пуш жасаған кезде шорт ойыншысы мидтан флеш беру керек.
Pop off. A lot of the kills last map came to him.
Бірақ ешқайсысы PVISION ойыншылары блайнд болған жоқ. Так, флеш.
Poi with the M4 on A.
Әр позиция осылай молотов немесе флешпен шығу керек.
Which is nice. It enables this 3-man stack, but even now, like, as far as this stack goes, the M4's in the site alone. So no way to try and retrieve that for 100Thieves.
His flash is very meta right now.
Flash.
He can't do anything as to
Fight
wait them
everybody
out.
against
Molly
Center.
starts to land around him. Not on his position though. He can still buy some time. He's getting wall banged out. Maybe a nade to boot. Can't get a thing done. Really needed a kill there. Only damage. Patience pays off. 2 more at long. That bomb gets shuffled over. No, long is lost. They really don't seem concerned.
Так, екеуінде, пистолет екен екеуінде.
It really is just so suffocating, isn't it? Like, even now, it's a 5v2, and a part of you's kind of thinking, if you're 100Thieves, look, man, we have pistols. Like, they're going to fight us. They're going to give us a chance to reply. But it's all about this real discipline for the money. You know, so many folks just couldn't resist the idea of getting these 2 kills on the USP and Deagle at long. They're not going to give you a free fight, a free chance to inflict any damage.
It's like talking about the full ecos where they wait till 10 seconds, right? It's like, maybe it's not the most fun thing to do, but if you are min-maxing your win, you know that this is long. I would give them the chance to remove 4K worth of weaponry on your side. Why would you let them have that shot? For what? A bit of rating? No,
it's like eco kill. It's like Counter-Strike with ego removed. Yeah, you know, like there's nothing in here about padding stats. It's all just take the most efficient route And that means min-maxing the economy. That means using all the time, all the resources that you get for free, and bankrolling yourself as much as you can.
Zem'de daha büyük var.
James did at least.
James de lower'da qarab oturuyor.
With Flit.
He was.
Nice with a nice start. PVISION might just walk in. That bomb is so far away. Oh, that's going to force the orb to fire. No, doesn't fall blind device. He remains with vision. Leave over his shoulder. Trained on the angle, but device not getting given much.
Short tekserdi.
Not going to go back into him though.
Terin site'da oynab жатыр bizde.
Device is going to get probably 2 shots off in this round. He needs to connect them.
Oy.
As the first.
Device bir minus var, ikinci var. Ay, хорош Zem.
Where he falls still gets his double.
Enough
because PVISION battle their way through this B-bomb site. It's on to Point and Sira in this retake. They're ahead of the James.
James weg.
He slipped the net. James doesn't hang around. Flash lined up. It's a re-smoke at the door, and now you're left coming through. Poi makes it in, but they hear him on the other side of this smoke. James dealt with that first man, and Poi, the whole time, just giving them little clues, little hints as to where he is. They'll swing him together.
And we see that same rotation, the post-plant that Jay made the other round, right? So he walks, he's close door, the smoke comes down, then he crosses into the site. 100Thieves, they may flash through the smoke, they may have car, but they can't do anything with that position. There's a smoke in their way, so he isn't susceptible. It's a really nice move late in the round. Just playing buddy system with James.
İki жақта да ya abi oynап тұр. Так, девайста статистика жоқ мына жақта. Тек қана ақшаны көрсетіп жатыр. Так, Закуп. PVISION'да бәрі жақсы.
You can see why they're always going for this little cross back over, right? It's like when you're coming through that door, unless you're Carrigan in a semi-final, you know, you're going to the left, you're clearing the car, you're clearing the tunnels.
Девайс мұқалды. Так, Flash. Бірінші Armor, 5-7.
You got to feel for 100Thieves in some of these rounds. It's like it happens again, where it's like, I like their round starters, I like the plays they make. I'm glad they're not afraid. But they are getting squeezed.
PVISION'da күтіп тұр қарандар. Ай, болды көрді. Бірақ бірден қарандар лоурдан шығып, қайтадан оралды мидқа.
Nice.
Okay, right, yeah. Device is tapped in. He's willing to do anything to win. He's decided. So now, wall bangs. Smoke shots.
Gizmi.
Honestly, how do you not just feel like crushed if you're 100Thieves? Because they've gone for the B stack. These rounds have all used the maximum length of the clock. There's been nothing like super fast and direct. You play the B stack fighting mid-control, and they rush A.
Great anti-eco call. Just walk up cats. If there's no pistol set up on cat with a flash and a 5-7, there's nothing you can do.
Молик бар тағы да. Моликті алсам болады.
Okay, now it's worth hunting a little bit. Get this rifle out of Poi's hands.
Қолдарында калаш бар. Уже бармайды.
Screw it. We've got our guns. You can have yours. Okay, device. Go catch the jumping player. I'll send him in, yeah. Roof. But of course, they flash him at the same time.
Well, look, Herrera, you don't often get this when you're playing against these James squads. You've been able to extract a bit of value in your eco. You get out with an extra AK.
Bumps.
Shaw's way is going to get a talking to for that. But it's 100Thieves.
Timeout.
Another
timeout because they can feel this game is slipping.
Abi kaldı айтпақшы қарандар девайс.
In the BO3 Group Stage.
Bir kalash. 3 MK.
It's not an easy
Utility full complete.
And Mouse in here foot as
PVISION
well.
тағы да $200 бар, негізі флеш алуға болады, бірақ.
This goes on to Playmouse, who lost earlier today, to get to the playoffs, so goddamn.
Осылай.
No free lunch in Group C, as it appears. Group winners beaten for lower bracket group Vitality and Mouse. Just like we expected.
Так, Звейх, неге пистолетпен? Неге пистолетпен, Звейх? Болды, енді алды, базар жоқ, ұйықтап жатыр Звейх, реально ұйықтап жатыр ана. Тест планда қалдырып кетті, калаш.
The same kind of round starts, but you never feel any the wiser as to where it's ending. This mid-smoke could mean 10 different things.
Паника малды, ұйықтап жатыр Звейх.
Thankfully, you've got Gizmi eyes on the catwalk just to confirm that no one's here. But it hasn't dismantled the triple A lean for 100 Thieves. In fact, they kind of double down on it now, bringing Poi into the bomb site.
Control bar, mid control bar, short
negizі. It's just two players again. You're looking at Device, you're looking at Rain. They've got a multi-kill. Or else this is another round on the board for PVISION.
Like this for Rain, but if they break the smoke, he could be in trouble. There it is. A lot of eyes on. Rain does back out. It's a sneaky move to survive. And that might cancel the call as a re-smoke comes in. Gizmi's making a move. Fred's dead. 4 in the tunnels. They've got to go. How are they going to find a way to win this, Harry?
Bilmiyorum.
They shouldn't look at
this. Şıkpao gerek, boldu uzun.
And so for the first time in a long time, one of these mid-round pushes really sets up 100 Thieves. Gizmi finding that timing, getting the kill in mid. Suddenly it all becomes clear what's happening in that round.
Ешкім жоқ. Стив соны түсініп, шорт міне пуш жасап, шығып, мидтағы люркерді жауып, уже болды.
Деген сөз ғой. See it with Device hedging his bets on B in many of these rounds, not really been playing on the car side.
Ал, басында, как положено ойнау керек. Раскид жасап, шортты алу керек өздеріне, контроль. Қайтадан бой жаққа жүгіріп жүр. Екінші рет оқымайды деп ойлап тұр ма? Гранатас.
Well, feeling like the slow pace maybe gave too much time to 100 Thieves in the last one. They try and go quickly in a B this time around. Flags the Jez with the trade. Poi up here in the window, but that AWP is covering it. And 100 Thieves relegated to the other side of the double doors. They're trying to keep the pressure on, looking to play through, but smoke blowing open, and Gizmi is just out on an island.
Love it. Love everything about it there for PVISION. It just feels like if you kill that side player on the B hit, you've won the round, because James is not going to miss the window shot. You either have to multi-kill or just play full retake. Because players trying to flood in to help their teammates from window, just every time have died to James.
And again, like, it's another one of these rounds, what we're saying, imagine how annoying this feels. Like, you finally think you found a way in, you've got to read on the pace, you've got to read on how James calling this, and he just hits you with the uppercut beat. And in a way, it almost feels like too much of a simple solution, right? You lose that last round because you're playing slow, Gizmi finds the timing. And you say, well, what if we did just go faster? But that is enough. You don't expect it, you get caught by the sudden pace change, and now whiplash for 100 Thieves.
Астанада ойнаған 9Z.
As they're relegated to the save, and rounds continue to get away from them.
There's been a lot of saves here in the city side, haven't there? That's the 5th one. At least it keeps gun rounds going. They've had a lot of buys in this map. But now we're reaching the tail end of the half where 100 Thieves will have to start going for some of these.
Әдемі. Тойым. 44 хп қалды.
Forever, B is feeling threatened. Could never get comfortable on the site. Boy starts with Rain, who got tagged.
Бірақ білмейді, иә? Білмейді ғой.
Looking for this mid pick. He has been giving us good output, but they've not been giving him the chance in middle. Someone out there, because there's no door smoke. He comes in late.
1 минут 20 секунд.
Nades on Cat.
1:20-да негізі, иә. Қанша уже дасты қарадым? 1:20-да барады да былайдан. Титаник, Tunnel, Lower, шортқа шығады. Осылай жүріп, 1:20-да примерно шортқа жетеді. Tunnel, Lower'ды тексеріп.
Feels like he's held on to it long enough.
Just found a new set of util and just leaving them around for him.
45 секунд. Шортты жауып тастады смокпен.
Keeping presence in upper, joining his team.
Mid to B.
Mid to B before the Cat hit.
Hard
looking long on low health.
Ой-ой-ой, қалай Джеймді жібереді бірінші ол Авикпен. 20 секунд. Алайын базар жоқ енді соңғы секундтарда.
And with device covering the cross, you want to say he's a very safe pair of hands.
Хорош. 10 секунд. 10 секунд қалды. 10 секунд. Бомбаны. Қою керек. Ооо, қарамайсың ба?
That is a robbery from the 100Thieves. Just stealing that one back with a bomb denial.
Yeah, excellent stuff. And they even nade that smoke. They know it's an option, right? They know he could be in their smoke. They're nading it. They're looking for it. In fact, they're worrying about it more than the bomb. And it doesn't get put down. Gives me denies. Nice to see device continually in the right place in this CT side.
Болу керек, иә?
Ақша бар. He got his first, and he hasn't been on car at all this game, but on the first proper Cat hit, he is there. 100Thieves hanging on in this CT side. Definitely the chance to sweeten this half. It's just an expensive round at the end.
Tunnel'da kırdı, tunnel'ga. Lower'ga бару керек, тексеру керек Lower'ды, сосын шортқа шығу керек.
Lower
тексермей ма, әлде ақпарат бар ма Lower таза екен?
It seems like PVISION want to do what they do best. Another blind hit.
Молотов шортта. Zaman емес.
Show that orb there either. Oh, that smoke will stop it for a second.
Бірақ төртеу тұр.
They do a flip, like doing all the usual tells that you're taking a bit of mid control, that you're looking for short. He threw in the molly on the drop down. Gizmi's just not balking whatsoever. And it was his push on short that actually started this comeback for 100Thieves. He's looking to do it again. And so once more, Gizmi is going to piece this together.
Қайтадан қарандар, қайтадан.
For the Thieves to rotate over. Now they start to assemble a B stack. If you are going to go, you've got to hit now because the window is closing. B site stacked to the 9. And boy, hits like a one-man army. 3 kills for him as they come out through the tunnels. Jame left saving.
Another Gizmi MVP.
Оның алдында тур осылай істеді ғой, істемейді ол, істемейді.
Straight up getting the most important kill or information or winning to the clock. It's a great job from Gizmi there on that repush up Cat. Device also had full long doors, right? It's a bit of a team effort. He had full long doors locked in with the orb. They knew that was going to be B. Felt too obvious there. And so Dastan with a first timeout in this map, or the last round of the half, so PVISION can really try and squeeze one more off their T side because it slowed down a little bit. 100Thieves winning 3 of the last 4.
Типа олар Б-ға шығайын деп жатыр. Төртеуі Tunnel'дан. Флит алады да, КТ-ні жауады, и люрк береді, мид.
Some of the riflers on PVISION a little quieter than Anubis.
Қарсылас Б сплит деп ойлайды да, міне шорт ойнап кетеді. Одан да ситini жаппай, ол екі смокты құртпай. Білмеймін, шортта ойнау керек па? Типа бай жасап, типа А шығамыз дегендей. Олар Tunnel'да тұрып, сити смок беріп, өзі түсінікті ғой, Б сплит екен. Оларда сплит емес, Tunnel'дан төртеу ойнап жатыр.
You're telling yourselves it would just be so much easier if he didn't exist.
Так, сел.
They're going to try and make their problem go away.
Шортты жіберуге болмайтын түсінді. Шорт беруге болмайды. Уже 2 рет просто шорттан шығып, минус ұстап жатыр кезіме.
Fast play out.
Фурия жоқ.
James Orp in with an opening. Rain. They run right into him, and Slaxages just spams him through the smoke. Rain's hoping to play later, catch them by surprise as they're planting that bomb. Never gets to.
What a check.
So a man down on this retake. Split up close in middle, just handed a free kill. A very lengthy flank for Sira in through the tunnels. This is all the making of it. 1 out half for PVISION.
James even boosted to make matters worse. That missed flash just sold this round down river.
Заман емес. Бірақ жете емес бұл жерде 9 раунд алуға болады еді. Дұрыстап ойнаған кезде 2 раунд закидной болмаған кезде осы бірдей жасады ғой закидной раундтар. 2 рет туннелден 4-еу шығып, флит кім шорттан арттан шығып, кезімей өлтіріп флитті. Дежавю болды.
But it may all be coming to a close unless they can mount a comeback here.
Осы мид арқылы қан екен, иә? Но танылдан 4-еу шығу деген даже фейсті істемейді ғой. Чисто пистолеттермен жүрген кезде ғана мүмкін.
100Thieves have largely had a pretty good time in these pistol rounds at least. So hope ain't lost yet. Looking like an A play. You got all the util to do it.
Вообще тоқтамай.
The long doors. James just plays for the spot.
Так, КТ енді. Тоқталмады. Жоқ, қарандар көрет. Ой, хорош. Әдемі звех.
Double headshot through the smoke. Sure, the bomb makes it in, but PVISION aren't thinking about that. They're thinking about this post plant, setting up on catwalk to retake together. P250 must save them.
Так, көрді. Device.
Oh, 3 players out. Cat, Cyril with that spot. It's a device just trying to battle through this CT grouping, but they lose their teammate in the site. Gizmi here as well. It's so claustrophobic as he comes back from long.
How did James get all 3? He was a spawn player. All up Cat, he got 3 kills. Show me that again. Just pulled a triple kill out of nowhere. I thought him living would be enough with that spawn smoke down. But James obliterates him. He has had just an incredible series. All starts with a Zwei double.
It's even just play around that Zwei double kill. It's instantly, gets the 5v3, instant fallback into retake positions out through Cat. They know they've got the smoke to keep the pressure on. They can look for that defuse. It's handled so well. They don't stake it all on trying to stop the cross.
Of course, James triple kill pistol, so he's buying that orb. He wanted it.
Damage,
but he's pretty quick and 100Thieves have read this. Devices walk straight out mid doors. He's got a read on James' reposition. Feels it's too good to be true. Mid to B is a very good call. Let's see what Slaxages can do.
Oh, it's done a lot of damage, but they're replying. Smoke spam is brutalized 100Thieves. James with one, Sway with the other. And it's another round where you're left saying this was the right idea, this was the right move. Device is now the sole survivor from this mid-split, and he gets deleted as soon as he plays through the window, and now they know where this last guy is coming from. Rain leapt on a flawless round for PVISION.
And Rain is just spamming the tunnel smoke while that mid-to-B's going on, so they just ignore him. 2 players both looking at window and door, and Rain doesn't get any impact there. They just don't care at all. While Slaxer just lines them up in middle. This double smoke spam in spawn. Just a beautiful round there out of PVISION. That was the force bite off the bomb plant, so 100Thieves nothing here.
Так, минус.
You can feel the hopes and dreams dwindling with every passing kill.
Үш дигл екен. Ақша, 2К. Ой-ой-ой, хорош. Минус Рейн. Так, минус алмаса болды. Ақша көп емес, PVISION'да.
I mean, when they're switched on, like no other team makes every effort feel as futile
Минус алған жоқ.
as this one. You try all these new
Экономиканы
ideas,
дұрыстау
you're
керек.
changing the pace, different types of aggro, CT side, you know, like looking for room, looking for information. T half now. Even when you kind of have misdirected them, it hasn't come to matter.
Тағы үш раунд керек.
Like a banger game to me.
Келесі раундқа ақша бар.
You're thrashing around, you're struggling, but you're silently all ending, isn't it, for 100Thieves? They've got another buy here, but they're running out of time if they want to save
Кеше маған
themselves.
айтпақшы кімнің ойыны ұнады? Авикпен кім ойнады даста? Кеше ма или оның алдында ма? Плюс да ойы бұл. Шортқа мініп, шорттан шығып.
20 and 7 last.
Yeah, it's just the craziest KDs.
Нөлде отырған Авикті өлтірді. Кім болды? Йо-майо.
I want to see James just no-scope the wall. Feels like that kind of game, huh? Nice. Up cats. James lets him go.
Так, төртеу шортта тұр. Лонг ешкім жоқ.
But that's exactly what PVISION are expecting. They have two players in the bomb site running a
bit
of a bait and switch.
шабуылдары ұнамай тұр маған.
Is waiting with that flashbang, the palm flash.
Ада үш ойыншы PVISION.
And that's going to come out now, so he's ready to play. Bit of support from
Сиела, әдемі. Тағы да бір минус.
Deal with the CT drop down. Oh man, everywhere you go, you just feel like you're playing into the hands of this CT defense.
Звех па? Соңына дейін лонг күтіп отыр. Лонгта ешкім жоқ. Қалай деген жоқ.
They're just trying to scrap their way back into this round. But 100Thieves getting nowhere fast. Just poi. Flip lives and goes on with a double. That's unbelievable. It's the B player who kills the guy on A through the smoke.
Easy peasy.
Nothing can go wrong right now for PVISION. It is just meant to be now. 11 to 5. This was a back and forth affair at the start of the map, but upon hitting CT side, PVISION have not slowed down. 4 straight rounds. 2 more to send them home.
Екі раунд алу керек. Ақша жетет. Мына жақта ақша жоқ. 12-ші раунд.
Pistols trying to make their way up the catwalk, but it
12-ші раунд
feels
қазір.
Spam's coming through.
PVISION-ші. Закидон жасамаса, ой, жайым әдемі. Так, 100Thieves. Бұл бізде lower bracket.
This time, though, you don't have this A setup ready to receive the short play. It is going to feel more stressful here. But the window on this is closing. James beginning his rotation. A third player arrives, and with a fresh belt, a util, they're taking all the wind out of the sails of the 100Thieves.
PVISION mouse қарсы ойнайтын болады. 100Thieves.
Bound for ramp, Flit finds himself in the sight, so no problems there for the nades.
James.
Zwei in position to back him up, just this bait and switch again. It goes only good for the one. Don't try and chase James alongside, even if he was looking away. He's stealing himself in on the corner, ready for a retake.
Бір нүктеден бүкіл команда шығады. Лонг, вообще ешкім жоқ.
Yellow creep up quietly. They're here on a very quick timing, and no one's ready for it. Shot in the back. Rain left as the last man standing and cannot hold on.
PVISION,
they've got themselves many a chance to close this out. the end of the line for the 100 Thieves.
That's a sick little idea to just walk up ramp so early, right? You think they're taking time, setting up, maybe going cat or long, two rifles, just walk into that bomb site, completely catch 100 Thieves off guard. I think the eco strat is cool, the nade stack on ramp, but of course that's when Flit's playing on default. Can't catch a break. 12-5. Pure domination.
Так, Авик бар девайста.
This may end as easily as Anubis here for PVISION, despite it not starting that way. See no long control this entire game. A nice off angle.
Тексерит его по-любому.
Pressure on B. That's why he's going to confirm what we already know.
Безусловно, Звейхтер. Ой-ой-ой, Звейх! Хорош, хотя бы
Siri gets the trade, but at what cost? They get the long space. Very, very wounded with the bomb in tow.
If
you give up this long control, you're going to go looking for a bit elsewhere. They scope up on short, didn't see anything, and just... It's a retreat for 100 Thieves. Moving away from the original intention and changing this one. They feel like they've got a gap on the other side of the map.
Certainly onto something. 20 seconds though, they've got to get a move on. Already, PVISION are questioning, they're starting to rotate over. They know the AWP could be a middle. Flit's playing this very carefully from the doors. Yellow needs something here in the first two connects. Device cuts down one rotate. Slacks is just making it across, and they're just going to charge this bomb. Surely they can win the game right now. They kill the bomb. Device is lost to the wind. I think that's it. I think 100 Thieves are getting eliminated on this stick as PVISION just pushes it over the line. It is a beautiful post-plant retake.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Two 13-5s, two absolute spelunkings over 100 Thieves, and despite the open qualifier run, they will end here at the bottom of the group.
Yeah, 1 week in Paris, and you know, we were happy to see Rain Device in this 100 Thieves squad in full swing, but the moment you get into the main event, they come up against some stiff competition. PVISION shut them down convincingly and end the 100 Thieves run at EWC.
Yeah,
Australis не забежал с халавой на таке.
Dunzo, especially if it's out of 100 Thieves, not exactly the result you were hoping for, but it is what you got in front of you on your plate. They do fall to PVISION, get knocked out, and now we get to sing their praises or lack thereof.
Татнысяқты, я? Ninja Pyjamas. Астралистарда.
Yeah, just couldn't really do much on the CT side, first and foremost, but T side, you know, not much better either in that regard, unfortunately, and they're eliminated from the Esports World Cup.
Yeah, you posed the question, Yango, how much would they focus on the B splits, how much would they focus on the B bomb side, and the answer was quite evident in this game. Almost every round finished on the B bomb.
There's an easy
Так, осымен ойын күні бітті, жүктер аяқталды. Так, көрсетейін сендерге қазір хайлайттан кейін сеткаларды.
That's why I was saying, like, I thought it was a no-brainer for him to be there. Gizmi has that spot. It's like, listen, guy, it's fine. You're coming in. You're the IGL, but there should be some seniority in this thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. Unfortunately, there's not too much to add, to be completely honest. I feel like we got to see the difference between a team that is still tier 1, a team that is still up there, you know, a team that is still in contention to go deep in the playoff. You know, I know it's been a bit of a rocky couple of months for PVISION, but as I said, you know, 4 or 5 months ago, they were ranked number 3 in the world, so definitely a team that has the capabilities, the know-how, and the abilities to be up there with the very best. And then you look at the Thieves, you know, sure, it's a work in progress, but I think this is also quite a clear-cut tell, Trace, that they're far away from being ready to this level of counter.
Yeah, I was saying that there are levels to
Так,
this. Right?
группа А бізде Gamer Legion шықты, G2 плей-офф. Так, Big Team Spirit'термен ойнайды, GGH Aurora. Так, мыналардың дауысын өшіруге болатын сияқты, я. Так, қайда кетті? Жаңа ғана болды ғой. Ол басқа екен. Так, міне. GGH Aurora қарсы ойнайды, бұл А тобы. Так, Б тобы Falcon плей-оффта, Фейс шықты плей-оффқа. Енді Legacy кім Ми1 қарсы ойнайды, бразилистер. Астралис Ninja Pyjamas. Так, С тобы бізде Б2 кетті плей-оффқа, базар жоқ. Vitality Томеситкаға түсті. Мына жақта футтар отып кетті мауздарда. Плей-оффқа шықты. Так, енді маус PVISION матч болады. Vitality Vision қарсы. Vitality ұту керек. Мына жақта енді PVISION маус қарсы. Как будто маус ұтатын сияқты. Көреміз, жарайды. Но PVISIONға қоям. Predict. Так, мына жақта Navi Mongols. Қысық матч болайын деп тұр. Navi Mongols. И 9Z Furia. Мына группа базар жоқ екен, Д группа. Қарандар қандай командалар. Так, төмен сеткада бізде 3D Max Magic. Мына осы командада мон ойнайды біздің Қазақ. Так, Pain Wildcard. Wildcard ұтады деп ойлаймын. Мына жақта негізі 3D Max-қа ұтатын сияқты, но Magic-та по-любому шанс бар. Ойнауға болады. Игра в жизни ертең енді бізде міне Pain Wildcard, Navi Mongols. Сағат 4-те осы екі матч. Келесі пара бізде осы 3D Max Magic бір уақытта ойнайды, и 9Z Furia бір уақытта. И Big Spirit GGH Aurora қарсы бір уақытта өтеді. Бұл ертең. Мынау 4-те басталады. Мынау примерно 7-де. Мынау примерно 10-да. Так, 14, 15, 16 бізде PUBG Mobile өтеді. 17-сі матч жоқ. 19-ы басталады сосын. тоғызы, 20-шы, так, 21-і уже ПМЦ Қазақстан басталады. Бізде 2 күн стрим ашуға болады. 19-ы и 20-сы. КСК-ны қарап. 21-і уже ПМЦ Қазақстан. 21-і, 22-сі, 23-ші дейді. Мына жақта финалда, полуфинал. Жоқ. Жартылай финал мына жақта болады. 3-ші орын үшін и уже 1-ші орын үшін матч. Так. 21, 22, 23. ПМЦ Қазақстан ертерек басталса, мүмкін үлгереміз финалға. Финалды қарап КСК-ны. Үлгермесек, Best of 5 бола ма? Best of 5 бола ма? Қайда жазылып тұр? 5 матч болады. По-любому, 3-ші матчқа мүмкін үлгереміз. Так, все, давайте жеге. Стримді аяқтаймыз. Баршаңызға рахмет келгендеріне. Ертең сағат 4-ке 15 минут қалған кезде примерно. Сол уақытта басталады PUBG Mobile. Финал бізде 2-ші ойын күні.